Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Crystal Richardson. I'm so extremely happy and excited to be with you again today for the culmination of Women's History Month. We had some amazing interviews yesterday, and we have a number of them today. Wow. The ladies that are already backstage, I can't wait for you to meet them. And we will be culminating the full set of interviews on Monday. So if you still want to be on, and if you are a powerful woman that has created history or know someone in history that you would like to honor, then we would love to have you on this show. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up a dear friend of mine who is also a member of TCTC, the Canvas and the Clay Bible Study Group, and just an amazing woman. Can't wait for you to meet her. It will be none other than Dr. Angie.
Good morning, Crystal.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm here in beautiful Colorado, where it's going to be 76 degrees today.
Oh, congratulations on that. We're already up in,
exactly.
Yeah, we're already up in the 80s and 90s here. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like too hot already here in Arizona. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone, other than the fact that you're in California. You're truly amazing.
Colorado.
Let everyone know who you are, and then we will have a little discussion.
Okay, Colorado, not California.
Did I say California? I did? Oh my gosh. Okay, Colorado.
All right. So my name is Dr. Angie Piccioni. I am currently, I'm in the governor's cabinet, the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, and I lead the Department of Higher Education. My background, I grew up in the South Bronx in New York. My mom was a unwed Black teenager when she had me, and grew up, I don't know my birth father, so grew up mixed race, but in New York, where everything is acceptable. Was my mom and my grandmother, two very strong Black women, instilled in me a passion for education. And so I had education on one side and basketball on the other. And so I got the first Black girl basketball scholarship to Stanford University. Graduated from there and went into education, went into politics, went into business, have done a lot of things in my life.
Excellent. Well, with that being said, you talked a little bit about your heritage, and the theme for this year, the national theme for this year, has to do with women uniting together. It also has to do with how we inspire one another. It also education, and it talks about the word generations. And so just in your introduction, you've already covered all of that. So it was great having you, Angie. Talk to you later. So tell us a little bit about your heritage. It talks about generations in the theme this year. So you have had some phenomenal women in your history.
Yes, absolutely. My grandmother was amazing. She had 8 children, but she raised about 21 children, because she raised all of the grandkids and even started raising the great grandkids before she passed. But she taught us all music. She taught us all a passion for books. She had books everywhere. So music and books and just great, just a passion for life. And my mom as well. And my mom was one of the first Black women to work on Wall Street. She was a legal secretary. She did everything. And so to see these two Black women, strong Black women, who during their time could not be everything they wanted to be, because it was before, I was born before the civil rights movement, before the voting rights movement, before the women's movement, before it was legal for my mom and my birth father to be married across the United States. So they had all kinds of restrictions on their life, but they instilled in me this passion for life and said I could do and be anything I wanted to be. And I believed them. And so I pursued my passions, I pursued my skills, my talents, and became very successul. So we call that the power of the spoken word. What you say can actually, some people talk about manifesting your destiny, but truly the power of the spoken word can really change the trajectory of a person's life. And my grandmother and my mother really made that happen for me.
Awesome, awesome. So you're using all of my words, because I talk about the fact that my mom and my dad sent me to kindergarten with my little plastic briefcase and said, you can be anything you want to be and you can do anything you want to do. And so maybe we're like twins on that. And on Sunday, just talking about it's not necessarily the power of the words. It's the power, like you're saying, it's the power of God's promises.
Yes.
God's promises to us of what we can have and what we can do and what we can be. And that's actually the name of the song I'm dancing to on Sunday is called Manifest. And it talks about God's promises. So you're just all over everything today, but I don't expect anything less. I don't expect anything less. And so let's talk about how you inspire people and how you were inspired to go into the field that you're in right now and to the industry that you're in right now, that you heard a voice and you laughed and all of that. Go ahead and tell that story.
Yes, so you used one of my favorite words, which is the word inspire. And I love etymology, the study of the root of words, the origin of words. And the origin of this word inspire is actually a medical term, which was the opposite of expire. So expire medically meant this person had passed, and inspire as a medical term, that was the origin of the word, meant this person was still alive. So we think about inspiration being, I have to come up with some great ideas no, we just have to show up alive. We have to show up with some energy. And most people say I'm a high energy person, but that's because I that's the way God made me, and I am happy with that. So years and years ago, in the year 2000, I went to vote. I was never involved politically. I didn't even vote all the time, to be honest. I only voted every 4 years for the president and whoever else was on the ballot. But this time in 2000, I went to vote. And in the ballot booth, I came to the congressional district for my area. And I am a Democrat. There was no Democrat on the ballot. So I didn't know if I had to vote for the person that was on there or if I could leave it blank. I thought if I left it blank, would that void my entire ballot? I didn't even know. In that moment, that still small voice said, you'll be on this ballot in 2002, to which I actually chuckled in the voting booth. I was like, I don't even know how you get on a ballot. So long story short, I was on the ballot in 2002 for the State House of Representatives, and another controversial race, but I won that race and then won re-election by the largest margin ever, especially for a Black woman in the history of that race. And so, that was my start in politics. It was all because I said yes. When God said, you'll be on this ballot, I said, okay, you show me how. And I was on the ballot.
Yeah. And you said, okay, you show me how, but no, it was the laugh and then, okay. And then but sometimes it's like, okay, God, you have jokes.
I really did. I was like, you got to be on the ballot. I had never considered politics. I majored in political science, but it was not for the purpose of elections. It was really the history of politics. And so I chuckled. Yeah.
Right. And so ladies and gentlemen, because there were some gentlemen that commented yesterday, thank you so much for being with us. And I've had a little bit of technical difficulty. So if I do disappear, just keep talking and I'll be back. But one of the things that really reminds me of related to women's history is that we have to listen. We have to listen. And even if it's something that we've never, ever done before, there's lots of women. I talked about some yesterday that created some amazing things from an invention perspective. And you just have to not just even think sometimes, because it's not even a thought that came across your mind. It's the listening. Everything is not necessarily starting with a thought of ours. It's if we listen to that still small voice. Sometimes it's a loud voice, but the still small voice, right? And so when we think about women in history, when we think about our own families, and even with what you said on that, once you listen and say, okay, and then you just go down a road you've never, ever been down before, and you have to figure it out. It then turns into, what it is today for you. Like you are a powerful woman in Colorado. I'm like, did I really say California? Oh my gosh, because I have to come there to see you all. I might be coming in May. So we have to just put a note on that, even though we're like on a live right now. Put a note on the fact that I might actually be there in May. And so I'm going to have to see you all. But you've done a lot in that area, not just in that area, but across the world, inspiring lives. So if you don't mind, what is something that you can remember in your past that inspired you that you now use those same exact principles, and you maybe even use the words that someone else used to inspire someone else?
Mhm. Wow, that's a great question. And yeah, so I think that there's two things that come to mind right away. One is, we talk about that still small voice, but and you and I have spoken about this before, that in order to hear that voice, you have to be tuned in, right? You can't just in the midst of everything that's happening, and we talked about this back in the day where you're in the car and you had to tune into a radio station, especially if you're driving cross country, you have to find a new
Right.
station, and there's a whole lot of static. Well, there's a whole lot of static in the world. And so tuning in to the station, not the static, is really the answer, and that we have to be tuned in on a daily basis, and we have to be tuned in, shoot, on a moment by moment basis, so that we know that we can hear that still small voice. So I think that when you think about people who have inspired me, I remember my very first basketball coach when I was in 5th grade in New York, and her husband used to come, and he was kind of I don't know if he played semi-pro or something, but he was also a really good player, and he would teach me things, and I was always hungry to learn the next thing. So along my life, I've always had mentors who kind of either showed me the way or encouraged me to go in certain directions. And so I think the cumulative voices of all the mentors that I've had going back to 5th grade, I remember, and into even right now, my mentor right now is 82 years old, and she was one of my professors at Colorado State University when I was getting my master's and my doctorate. But what the reason she's a mentor of mine is because she exuded wisdom. And I was hungry for wisdom at that time. I was 34 years old. I was really hungry for wisdom. And I saw that in her. And I said, in my mind, I said, okay, I've got to get to know her. I've got to be mentored by her. And she and her husband were both professors at CSU. And so I think when we're hungry for what will feed us, and we pursue it, and we tune into the station, I think all of those things align to make us who we are.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Tuning in and be hungry for wisdom. The other part of that is recognizing wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes if it's not coming from someone that you like, or they remind you of someone, or they rub you the wrong way, you can still get wisdom from that person. So recognizing wisdom, I think, is important, because sometimes we just only want to do that with people that we know, like, and trust and love, right? But
yes,
you can get wisdom from a child. You can get wisdom from, you said, somebody that's 80 something. And
mm-hmm.
so I really, really love that. And the tuning in to the station, not the static.
That's right.
That's awesome and amazing. And so if you had to leave just one kapayao, that's the word that came to me. What's the root word of kapayao? Maybe you already. If you can leave one kapayao for the people listening today, one big nugget. And I love how AI is taking these and making them into little snippets. So if this kapayao is good, it's going to make it into a snippet. So no pressure, Dr. Angie, no pressure. Real, okay, kapayao that I want you to leave is, be a little controversial on saying something to our audience that is not the norm. A lot of people always say, be all that you can be, and you have it inside of you, and you're powerful, you're this or that. What's something that's controversial that might just take people a minute to think about? Do you have anything that's like deep like that?
Well, I don't know how deep this is, but I know it's the way that has a way of living that has guided my life, and everyone will tell you, I every single person I meet is a friend of mine, and actually, as I go around the world, I run into people who truly are friends of mine that I've worked with. But I think it's because I don't know. I think it was in fact, I know it was my Uncle Mo. My grandpa had a restaurant in the Bronx, and my Uncle Mo was his right-hand man. And I worked at that restaurant and took it really seriously. And I watched my Uncle Mo, how he interacted with people. And I emulated that. And what it has become for me, I think, is backed up by, I think it's a Native American credo. My own personal credo is, I'm as committed to your success as I am to my own. And part of that comes from this, I think, a way of living that says, treat everyone you meet as if you're related to them somehow. And so I do that. So I often call people, brother. I call, man, hey, brother, hey, sister, sometimes uncle. But I really mean it, because when you do that, when you see them as somebody that's related to you, it just changes the way you feel about that person. And I do that even with strangers. And so because of it, I'm welcoming. And I think if we can all be more welcoming and really treat people with the kind of, respect. Now, I know some people have some crazy relatives, but I'm talking differently. But if we do that, I think we will be a blessing to people. And I think that's, it's not in order to be a blessing, but we just become a blessing because of the way that we treat people and the way we love people. And I think if we all did that, the world would be a better place.
I think that was a kapayow. I think it was a kapayow. Angel is on here commenting about tuning into wisdom. She really liked that. And she's saying, hey, she loves your purple or whatever, the color is that you have on. It's really, really cool in your necklace and whatnot. So awesome. So yeah, I think that was a kapayow. And I do that too. Hey, sister, hey, brother, or sissy, and aunt this or uncle that, and no, they're not. I have sons and daughters, and so people are like, oh yeah, your son this and that, and it's like, oh well, yeah, but he's not actually my real son. Like, he is my son. He's been dancing with me since he was waist high, and now he's 6 foot something, and we've been together this whole time. So yes, he is my son, and I have plenty of daughters and godchildren and whatnot, and it does bring a different emotion and a different connection and a different sense of wanting to hear and feel and see them succeed as well.
Exactly. That's where that credo comes from. I'm as committed to your success as I am to my own. But that credo means I'm committed to my success. So I'm going to do what it takes for me to be, to make sure I'm listening, tuning in, but I'm also committed to yours. If there is a book I could recommend, there is a book. I didn't write it. I have a couple of books I've co-authored, but the book that I would recommend for wisdom is called Wiser. It's a relatively new book. I wish I had it downstairs. Wish I had it right here, but it's called Wiser, and it's a really good book. It looks at the scientific, the science behind wisdom. So it's really, really good. If you're really into the academic side, it's really a good book.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I am going to have to pick that up, because you and I are a lover of words and digging behind the scenes on things. So that would be great. Great for me to have, for you to give me as an early Christmas present here in March. March is not over. No.
I can do that. It's very good. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I used the little folder thing that you gave me with the beautiful saying on the front. That was just so awesome. And thank you for my birthday back in September. When I turned 60, it was really great to have you here. And then to get that present, I really, really appreciate it. And I want to bring on someone else as we end with you. I know you have something else to go to. The person who introduced us, so that we can say hey together for a whole 60 seconds. And then I know you have to go. So bring to the stage none other than the spark of life herself, Miss Sandy Austin.
Hey, you guys. Hey, Andy. Hey, Crystal. Great to see you guys.
We've known each other for over 40 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Way back at Fellowship Christian Athletes Camp. And what happened is Angie was a speaker there, and she was the most dynamic one. All the girls, there were like 600 girls there, and they're just like, you could hear a pin drop. And then I went to another conference, and she was there. I thought, if I ever work for FCA, I'm going to have Angie as a speaker at every conference. And she did that for me. And she was the most incredible speaker every single time. And it's amazing watching your life, Angie, and how God has used you. Girl, you're a powerful woman. So thank you. Well, you're making a difference for generations to come.
Well, thank you.
So Angie, I think she's a speaker stalker, because that's how she found me on the stage. She's like, oh my gosh. I know Angie has. What'd you say?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, I think that's the same thing with Forbes. I think she heard Forbes speak, and so that's good. But again, that's in pursuit of what's going to make her even better, and that's what I love about Sandy, is that she's always helping others, but also pursuing a path for herself as well. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Learning from
Awesome.
the best, guys.
God bless you. I got to go to a meeting. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Take care,
Goodbye.
girl.
All right.
Well, good morning, Sandy.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
girl. Good. How are you doing? There in
I'm
Arizona?
in Arizona. I can't believe I'm like, did I actually say California? But yeah, here in Arizona, it's just another beautiful day as normal. So great. So yes, you are also a member of TCTC, the Canvas and the Clay, and one of our most what do I want to say, consistent members of our Bible study. And so really appreciate that. But what I want you to do is to introduce yourself, and then we'll have a little conversation about women's history.
You bet. Well, thank you, Crystal. It's such a pleasure to be with you and your audience today, girl. Thank you. So I have been a school counselor. I was a teacher for 10 years and then became a school counselor. And I was one of the most involved counselors with the Columbine school shooting tragedy. And then I was a part of 3 other school shootings. I worked in Jefferson County Schools, which was the Columbine district. So we had a lot of shootings in the area. We've continued to. Anyway, then at my own school, 2 years after Columbine, we had 4 suicides in 8 months. And it's like, oh my gosh, we got to do something. What's happening? Here as school counselors, we're trying to do our guidance planning, but if we're having kids shoot up a school and take their lives at that level, there's something wrong. For 2 years, I just prayed. We were doing everything. We had national people coming in to help, but it was just the semester after those 3 suicides, first 3 suicides that happened in 1 month, we had 48 kids put on 72-hour holds for suicide. They had a plan, they had a time, and they had a method and a place that they were going to take their lives. And so it's like, oh my gosh. And so I just kept praying. And what was interesting, as I was counseling those kids at Columbine and at my school and the other shootings, we found out they were all males, that they had all said something to their friends about their plans, but their friends didn't say anything because they didn't want their friends to get mad at them. And I thought, oh my gosh, we have got to empower the kids about what to do for their friends when they're talking like that and talking about homicide or suicide or anything like that. And so what happened as a result of all that, I started a school club called the Bionic Team, which stands for Believe It or Not, I Care, to empower kids to reach out to their hurting peers who are new, sick, bullied, hospitalized, or lose loved ones, because that's what all those guys had been dealing with, and to try to put a safety net around them, just to let them know they're seen, they matter, and they're not alone. So that was 20 years ago that I started that Bionic Team. Crystal, I can't hear you.
I know.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, wow. So I was like, wow. So a lot of us, have heard of all of these different things that have gone on, have heard of them. But to be a person who has actually had to be basically one of the first responders to those horrific things that have happened in our society is just a whole nother level. And then a whole nother level of compassion, that you have due to even, just who you are personally, and then some things that you've been through as well. When we talk about women's history and inspiring and education and whatnot, again, the things that you've done to help be a person that should be honored, as part of women's history is just phenomenal, because people need people to care. People need money, people need food, clothing, shelter, but they also need someone to be kind and someone to care. And so believe it or not, I care. And that movement, and then the things that movement has done related to other tragedies is also phenomenal. So go ahead and share a little bit about what you've done to send some things to other locations that have had tragedies.
You bet. So what one of our parts of our bionic teams in the schools for the kids is that, and I got this idea from my experience with Columbine. When I was there in the summer, I mean, I volunteered hundreds of hours because I had actually student taught at Columbine 17 years before the tragedy. And so I was on the second day of after the shooting, they said, Sandy, would you check with your principal and see if he would let you be here longer, just because you know the community so well. And I knew so many people. And so I asked him, and he said, Sandy, do you know I'm a retired Columbine principal? He said, you stay there as long as they need you. So anyway, one of the parts of Bionic is these posters. And in the summer, I was counseling kids and Columbine staff and families. And what happened is I came out from counseling a Columbine girl, and there were four posters there. One was a 10-foot white poster paper from an elementary school in Japan. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so I asked that girl, I said, what do you think of these posters? And this one from Japan, she said, we really appreciate what the businesses are doing for us and everything. But this poster, she said, now knowing that kids from all over the world are thinking about us, that's what gives us the strength to go on. And so through the years, we have done that for different schools. So I started Bionic 20 years ago, and I led Bionic in 2 schools where I was a counselor for 14 years. And we had sent over 250 of those posters to other schools where there was a student who who died, or staff members that died, that type of thing. But then we also started sending something in Arizona when you guys had the shooting down there. I don't remember where it was, but it's where Gabby Gifford was shot, and that big shooting. So we thought, yeah, it's not a school, so we'll send that. So we did that. But then recently, again, with the hurricanes in Florida and North Carolina, I was going to be going to the Colorado School Counselor Conference to speak and to have an exhibit booth there. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if the counselors from Colorado, we've been through these types of tragedies. We understand what those school counselors are going through. We know they're exhausted and they're struggling. We thought, how about doing a poster for them? So we did a poster for the North Carolina counselors and the Florida counselors. I brought them down to their conferences. And then when I was at the North Carolina conference, they said, can we do a poster for the Florida counselors, since they had been dealing with the same hurricane? So they did it. Oh, Crystal, it's so powerful. As these people are signing these posters, they're crying, they're going, oh my gosh, we want to give them our strength. Then when I bring those posters to those states, to those people to receive it, they're crying, knowing these people really understand what we're going through. And so it's like their arms reaching around them. And so just recently, we did the same thing for the California fires. And what we did is I'm a part of the Chamber of Commerce in my area. So our Chamber of Commerce filled out a poster for the Chamber of Commerce in Palisades in Malibu. It's called Palibu. And we sent the poster to them. And so, and again, these people, that's what I saw with kids when we would hear of tragedies at other schools. That when they stood there and were able to sign it, when they would hear of a tragedy, they wanted to do something, but there's nothing they could do. So to be able to sign that poster is really moving for the people who can even just sign the poster.
Right. Because it's more than just signing it.
Well,
it's more than just signing it. It's the Spirit of God, the energy, the love that goes into it, that once it gets received, they can feel that.
Exactly.
They can feel it. And so right. I think that's phenomenal. And the fact that you are doing this with, children, youth, having where you're embedding that into who they are at such an early age, have a caring and loving spirit at such an early age, that is something that obviously the world needs more of, which is why you have the Bionic movement and working on getting this into various schools, various school districts, into companies, into universities, like across the world. Yes. This is something that's needed. And so So when we think about, again, I just keep going back to the theme, and it's talking about us gathering together. It talks about education and inspiring across generations. Um, is there some kind of generational comment that you can share with us, something in your past that has also helped you to be who you are, a person, maybe it doesn't have to be in your family, but a person that you can think of that has helped you to be who you are?
Mm. Oh my gosh, there's several key women that God has used through the years to really inspire me and empower me. When I was in high school, there were two speakers at that time. One was Ann Kimmel, and another was Johnny Erickson. And both of them, God used that to plant. Ann Kimmel said, I am just one simple girl, but I have a giant of a God inside me. And he and I together, we can change the world. Johnny Erickson Tata, she was an all around athlete and equestrian, all that type of thing. But then she had a diving accident and she severed her spine. And so she was quadriplegic then. And what was interesting is she was president of her youth group and everything. And I read her book and saw a movie about her. And what happened is there was a guy that came, she took up art, drawing with her mouth, and they were having an art exhibit. And so she was there, and a veteran came up to her. He had a patch on an eye from an injury. He had lost an arm, lost a leg. And he said, how can you smile? She said, pardon me? He said, how can you smile knowing you'll never be able to have kids? You'll never be able to feed yourself. How can you sit there and smile? And she thought, and she said, God is very important to me. And she said, I knew him very well before my accident, but I'd rather know him today as I do than on my feet without him. So she had everything going for her. And for her to say, I'd rather know God how I know him today than on my feet without him, I thought, she lost everything. And so I said, God, that's what I want to know. My mom was the most incredible woman of faith. She was top salesman in the nation for the Wall Street Journal. She got a business scholarship back in 1948, but she didn't go into that because she wanted to be mom. And she was, like I said, top salesman in the nation for Wall Street Journal. And then as I started Bionic as a nonprofit 6 years ago and going into it and really learning, being an educator for 34 years, I know education. I don't know business. And so someone who's been really impactful for me in the last couple of years is Forbes Riley. She's helped me to know how to speak. Last year, I spoke on 52 stages. She has given me the wisdom on how to pitch, how to get my message out. And so that's how I met you, Crystal. And so that's where, so these women have just empowered me. And what's exciting is my alumni now, girl, my Bionic alumni that I actually had on my teams. They're 40 years old now. And what's amazing is the Bionic kids, when they hear tragedy, they move toward it. They don't back away and they don't shy away from it. They're not afraid. They know the life skills about how to go and help someone. Just the basic things to say. And it's so simple. It's so easy. So these 40-year-olds are saying, Miss Austin, my business needs a Bionic team because we have employees who are new, who are sick, who lose loved ones, and who are sick. And they say, Miss Austin, I want to start Bionic in my business. And so it's so exciting. It's just such a blessing. I've never gotten married, never had kids yet. And yet, well, I'm too old to have kids now. Anyway, but so I have 1,200 kids that I actually had on the Bionic team, but even more worldwide. We have over 150 schools worldwide. 2,300 schools are inquiring about Bionic. So it's exciting. It's just for these kids to say, I can make a difference. And they have the confidence that I can make a difference. They see someone hurting, they feel the confidence to go up and say something to him. So it's just so powerful.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Giving people the power to say that I can make a difference. And youth that have grown up and now they're in their 40s. And so you have done something that has gone across generations as well, because whether you physically have had children or not, you have plenty of them, and then they have children and then their children's children. And so it is something that stems across generations. So I just want to honor you on today, related to that, and to thank you for all that you do. to change history, quite frankly, to change history, because we can change our future and the futures of others based on what it is that we do today. We can't change yesterday, but based on what we do today, we can change the future and the past and present of others, if we think about what it is that I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
so
definitely.
so yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And it's exciting. I am not able to talk about God in the public schools, and that's okay. What we're doing is God's love reaching out. So I can rarely talk about God. If people say, Sandy, why do you do this? I say, do you really want to know? I say, it's because I love these kids, and God has a plan for them. And we're all a gift. We're all a gift to this world. And I want to help those kids find out the gift they are, so they can make a difference in their world and to have a purpose. And so
right.
I love it.
Right. And so tell us a little bit about this is Women's History. So and it is talking about how we as women are able to come together and to show love and to inspire and to educate. Let's talk about this from the perspective of Women of Impact and Innovation International. Is a Christian business women's organization. And from there were a number of us who stepped out. We're not going to stem out. We're going to step out. Okay. And we started the Canvas in the Clay Bible Study Group. So what has that meant to you to be able to study the Bible together with women from various parts of the country? Actually, the world. We've had a few people from various continents that have come on too. So what has that meant to you to be a leader in this group?
Oh, Crystal, it has been so powerful. I love it. I look forward to it every Saturday. And when I can't be there, like now when I'm in Florida, I've missed a couple. I really miss it. But what is so powerful is, we read the Bible and it does come alive. But what happens is we're listening to other women share, and all those women are leaders in their own industries and everything. And so, as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. And so we learn from each other, and we hear, just like Angie, and when you're sharing on there, it's so powerful. And if we're down, if we're going through a tough thing, we can share that openly and pray. Rarely can you find a group of women or anybody that you can really open up. I mean, I've poured out my heart from the deepest things that have happened in my life, but the prayer support and the encouragement, it's just it's an incredible opportunity just to sit in and if you're wherever you are in your walk with God, if you have a walk, if you don't, whatever, it's just so powerful. There's no judgment. There's no competition, which is so unusual amongst women today. And it is a lifeline. It is a lifeline for all of us that are in there. And every single time when a woman comes in and sits, she goes, why have I not been in here? I need to be here every Saturday. And it's so encouraging, and we lift each other up and we pray for each other during the week with different things that are coming up. So I am so thankful for the Canvas and the Clay, and God bless you, Crystal, for doing that, for starting it. It's a lifeline for all of us.
Yeah. I love it. And just to be able to hear from you all, and it's where everyone gets to do whatever it is that they want to do. If they wanted to sit in the background and not come on camera and not say anything, you can do that and just listen in. Or if you want to type a comment because you don't want to say it, you can do that. Or if you want to come on screen and be crazy, like, with the rest of us, sometimes our hair is up and down and like we're looking all crazy because it's first thing in the morning, but it's not recorded. So you can come in however you want. But like you said, it's they do have that saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's the same thing with the Canvas and Clay. Like we are there to be there for one another, however we need to be. And there's no question it's a wrong question. There's no attitude. If you're mad at God and if you don't understand something, we do the best that we can to provide resources and counseling and just a helping hand or ear. And we cry together. We definitely cry together. We laugh together and just really dig deep into God's word. And sometimes those studies get pretty deep. Like we've talked about a number of things that have happened with people, whether it's suicide or rape or, you know, incest, like all different kind of things. Like it's not deep like that every week, but you know, if there's something that we need to discuss, or if something's happening to someone in their family, or if we need to get some legal people involved, like, you know, we do whatever it is. We have attorneys on there too.
Yeah.
From time to time, we have like some of everybody. And so people that want to start businesses, people that want to start ministries, based on what we've talked about, write books because of what we've talked about. So it's just really a great time in the Lord. And Cindy, you even shared at the mountainside this past year at the summit, here in Arizona. So what was that like?
That was amazing. And you know what I love about the Canvas and the Clay and WOII is that it's intergenerational. So we have younger women there that are just starting out in this world. We have those of us that are older, you know, and that are seniors, you know. And so that's what's so fun is I have as much gray hair as you do, girl, but I cover mine up. There you go. But anyway, so that's what's so powerful. And oh my gosh, that was an experience I will never forget. That was so beautiful with the mountainside, with the sun coming up, and the women, and the time that we had there. It was so precious. I will never forget that. But that's what's amazing is hearing from, you know, all the different races, we're all coming from these different life experiences, and oh my gosh, I really believe that's what I believe, that God is raising us up for such a time as this. And with these times in this world, we need each other. We need to be strong, because there can be some tough times ahead, and it's going to be tough. And so that's where we need each other. And so when I think I need some prayer people, I think of Canvas and the Clay and my church, of course, my little church group. But yeah, it is. Thank you. What a vision you've had, and talk about impacting generations to come, girl. You are empowering us and strengthening us as we are reaching out in our ministries, in our work.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard you say ministries. Yeah, you changed it to work, or you said ministries and work. Yeah, it is.
I know.
Ministry.
I know. Well, Bionic is my ministry, but I can't say that out in the secular world. But
yeah, no, it is. And so, so as we get ready to close out your segment, what is something, I use the word kapayao, as you heard me say for Dr. Angie, but for you, you know, you have such a caring voice and just such a warm spirit that really just, I believe, just helps everyone that you meet. Like when you're just walking down the street, you exude the kindness and the believe it or not, I care, even without saying it. And so thank you just for having that like around you at all times. And so what is something that has been a difficult time where maybe it seemed like your words did not help, or what you were doing did not help, and then come to find out a week later, month later, years later, decade later, you know, someone came up to you and said, you were the one that did said XYZ. Do you have one of those examples?
Oh, girl, with the Columbine tragedy, what was interesting is I had been doing it. So the day of the shooting, I got home that night and I sent an email to 4 of my friends saying, you guys, please pray for me. I'm counseling with the Columbine tragedy. So then the next day I get home and there are 100 emails from people from all over the world that I don't even know that said, you know, I'm praying for you. The next night I get home, there are 400 emails there. And and that was so powerful, because that was such a hard time. That day, the things that I had heard, I just thought, God, I can't talk about you with these people. You're the only hope for this. But I was really discouraged, and I knew I was going back to another school that next day, a feeder school, elementary school. So anyway, at 8 o'clock that morning, I saw a woman stand in this elementary school. I saw a woman standing against the wall, just kind of in a daze. I said, hi, ma'am, can I help you? She said, I just dropped off my daughter. She's in 1st grade. And she asked me if I could come back and be in her art class today at 1 o'clock. And she goes, I am so scared. I'm in here. I'm wondering if someone going to come and shoot up this school. And she said, I'm so frazzled from this was on Friday. I'm so frazzled from Tuesday when the shooting was. They had kids at their home. They had people over. She was worried. She was not able to sleep, worrying about her kids and worrying about everything. And she said, I am just so frazzled. I can't think about coming back here at 1 o'clock. I don't know what to do. And I thought, God, I have no idea. I am not a mom. I do not understand. I can't relate. I said, but give me what she needs. And so I said, okay, think of really little things, like, in the midst of chaos in your home, if you're going to the bathroom and you're just there for 5 minutes, I say, what are some things that you can do that fill your bucket, that are really an encouragement to you? Small things, little things that you could do maybe during these next few hours. She said, well, I love hot chocolate. I love a hot bath. I love riding my bike. I love reading a book, and I love calling a friend. I said, okay, it's snowing outside, so you can't ride a bike. I said, but how about reading a book, taking a hot bath, doing hot chocolate, maybe an extra cup of hot chocolate, calling your friend, and reading a book. And so doing 4 of those things. See how many of those you could do between now and 1 o'clock, and then see how you're feeling, and determine then what you think. At 12:30, she walked in the school. She just looked refreshed, not perfect, but she looked refreshed. There was just a peace about her. She said, Sandy, thank you. She said, that's what I needed. She said, now I feel good. I feel strong. I feel strengthened. When I was talking to my friend, she said, I don't know what to say to you, but just talking to her and being able to pour out my heart. She said, Sandy, thank you. That made a difference. Now I'm ready for the weekend and everything else to come. And I'll continue to be able to do those things when I'm stressed, even in future years. So thank God he gave me the right words. And he's always done that in the midst of all these tragedies and things that I've dealt with my life and with my counseling. So God is so good.
Awesome. I'm writing that down. God, give me the right words. And sometimes the right words are no words.
Oh,
like if he doesn't tell you to speak, then don't speak. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Driving over to Columbine on the day of the shooting, I had just finished my counseling degree 2 years before that. And so I'm driving over there. I'm going, Lord, I don't know what to say. There had been no school shootings at that time. There had been a couple little ones, but not in the, right. I hadn't gotten any training on that in my counseling degree. And I'm going, Lord, I don't know what to do. And it was scary. We were hearing there are shooters on the roof. And, I thought for my safety too, I thought, Lord, you've put me here at this time. And it's incredible, Crystal, to see God's fingerprints, how he prepared me, how he had me be a student teacher at Columbine, and then had me get into counseling on time to be back in the school district again as a counselor. Oh my gosh, there's so many things. God is incredible.
Yeah, there are.
Yes.
And the God's fingerprints is something that we talk about a lot, of which you see that Sandy and I can go on and on and on, but I really appreciate you, Sandy, and people. She's an amazing speaker, amazing inspiration, and probably coming to a stage near you as much speaking as she does. But for Bionic, you can get in touch with her. You see her name on the screen, Sandy Austin, if you want to message her to get more information about that and how you can get that particular, believe it or not, I Care information into your school, your child's school, or to your business. So we really love you and appreciate you, Sandy. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Crystal. God bless you. And thank you. What a privilege to be with you and your listeners.
Awesome. Awesome. So on this International Women's Month, we honor you and thank you. And I hope you have a blessed remainder of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was Dr. Angie, and then that was Sandy from Believe It or Not, I Care. And so we're going to have another amazing and phenomenal guest coming up right now. She's been waiting patiently. Hopefully it's been patiently backstage, and a dear friend of mine, as well as the Vice President of Women of Impact and Innovation International, none other than the Linda Sunshine West.
Hello, hello, hello. First of all, I see I got the memo to wear blue, just like Sandy was.
Yeah, we had some
didn't get
red
that
going
memo.
on yesterday, and now she has blue. I'm trying to think, did I have blue out? No, I didn't have blue out. But
Next time, next year.
who was your favorite color?
It is my favorite color. It makes my eyes look bluer, so I'm going to wear blue. So, how's
Well, you
everything
look
going,
amazing.
Crystal? This is fantastic. You know, women coming together to support each other, uplift each other. You know, when I was in the corporate world, all I felt was like women kept on stepping on me to get ahead. And then when I jumped into the entrepreneurial world, everything shifted, and I found that women were actually supportive. And then you're definitely an example of that, a woman who does support other women to lift them up, so that we can, you know, just create a better planet. Each of us individually creating a whole group of people, making the planet a better place.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much. And over the years, like all of what you've done with women and all of what you do, just, you know, in I guess it's partly what I was saying about Sandy too, of being that support, being that voice, sometimes the voice of reason, sometimes the voice of hilariousness. You know, you love to have fun, right? So having where you just bring that joy to people, which is probably why you got the middle name Sunshine. It's something that the world needs more of. So with that being said, go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll get into a little conversation.
Okay, thank you for having me today. My name is Linda Sunshine West. I'm the founder and CEO at Action Takers Publishing. Our mission is to empower 5 million women and men to share their stories with the world to make a greater impact on the planet. And we do that through collaboration books as well as solo author books. You know, I love this type of work because when I started sharing my story, just 10 years ago, I started sharing my story, that I found that it not only was healing for me, but it also helped other people, gave them the courage to do something that they wouldn't otherwise do. And so since I found the power of sharing my story, I decided I wanted to offer that gift to other people. What I found is very interesting is a lot of people don't believe they have a story to tell. And I'm here to tell you that you have a lot of stories to tell. It's just because when we live them, we don't really understand the breadth of, you know, impact that those stories can have on other people. So it's really time for you to just get out there, start telling your story, sharing your message. And like I say, you know, making a greater impact on the planet. This is what it's all about. The more impact we can make, the better this planet will be. So that's that's it in a nutshell, Crystal.
Yep, definitely in a nutshell. It's a lot going on in our lives, right? But you did very well condensing that into
Thank you.
to that introduction. Yes. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I've practiced lots of practice.
Awesome. So this is Women's History Month. And so I know that you have women's organizations. I know that you work with a lot of women and men too. But is there a woman in your past or that is in the general past that you can say has inspired you to be who you are today?
You know, it's interesting because when that question comes up, I reel through my memory and try to figure out, you know, who that would be. And honestly, like I've spent a lot of time around men in my life, and there are way more. I'm just saying this because it's interesting how, as you ask that question, the majority of people that pop in my head are men. Men have made a much greater impact in my direction of my life through mentors and coaches, mostly mentors and coaches. But if I, you know, looking at the women in my life, kind of like, while it was happening, I'm going to cut with this caveat. While it was happening, I didn't know the impact that was happening. But it was much later. It was years after my mom passed away that I realized what an impact she did have on my life. You know, I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household. And my mom was the one that kept us all together. My mom was the one that had the strength where I saw it as weakness while it was happening. Because like, why is she staying with him? I don't understand. Like, my mom was with my dad for 55 years. And I always saw it as a weakness that my mom stayed with my dad. But it was through my life coach that she asked me a different question. She said, what if it was her strength that kept her there? And I was like, whoa, I never thought of it from that perspective. Yeah. And that really just gave me a whole different appreciation of my mom. But again, I didn't appreciate her while she was alive. But I do appreciate her now, and I appreciate her after she is gone. So I do have her to thank for me being the person I am. You know, waiting patiently in the room down there. That was from my mom. She gave me patience of Job.
Yeah, and that we can say unfortunate, but we can also say that we're thankful. Like sometimes when it's after a person is gone, that we realize their impact. And so, but the fact is that we did realize it. So we can give ourselves credit, you know, for that, of actually realizing that. And when I think back, you know, on my mom, and I'll be talking about my mom and some other things a little bit later, but when I think back, it's like, thanks, Mom. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't have any regrets over it at all, because my life is my life, and it you know, our lives are what they are. And sometimes it takes us to get, I like to say, you know, sometimes God has to hit us with a 2x4 over the head for us to know what's going on. And that really is, I believe, what it was for me. Is I had to be awakened to the fact that my mom was the one that held everything together. That my mom was the strength in our family that helped me to become a stronger woman. But unfortunately, it just wasn't until after she was gone. And that's okay, though, because like you said, I realized it. And a lot of what I do today is I do reflect back on some of the things she did and said, and I use her phrases now. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom used to say that all the time, and it used to piss me off. And now I'm saying it now, you know. So it's really interesting how she shows up. She actually shows up more in her death for me than she did while she was alive. And it's a blessing, tremendous blessing, that I do have that strength to tap into.
Excellent, excellent. So the other part of the theme for this year has to do with education. And what would you say has been a big education part for you? It doesn't have to be that it's from a woman. I know a number of your mentors, and so I know that they're men, but when we think of women in education, with what you have learned, how you now pass that on to others, what has been one of those main points that you take and you pass on to others?
Okay, I got to tell you, Crystal, this is one of those interviews that I wish I had the questions ahead of time. And the reason I say that is because education for me, especially in today's world, I don't like, if I'm talking about schooling, I don't see schooling as a benefit much for people. So let's like get that out of the way. So education, you know, I learn from people every day. I'm constantly learning. Like, how can I reflect back on my life of what I did and how I can be better? What did I do yesterday that I can do tomorrow better? So I do a lot of reflecting on myself as a human being and how I can be better today than I was yesterday. And a lot of that comes from, you know, just observing other people. You know, I met like 3 new people yesterday on LinkedIn. And so like, what did I learn from those people through the interactions that I've had through them? So for me, the education thing, it's just like a constant wanting to learn and be a better human being more than anything else for me. So I'm not sure if that even answers the question, but that's where I went with it.
Yeah. And no, you would not get the questions ahead of time, because some of these come based on what we're talking about. But let me give you your version of this to lead you to what I was thinking about.
Okay, cool. Yes, please do.
How about that? And so I said, you know, what is it from an education perspective, something that you've got and then you now pass on to people? You, Linda Sunshine West, are one of the people that you're the epitome of getting information and sending it on to others. Whenever you learn a new tool on Canva, something on Facebook, something on anything it is that you do, you're like, you know what? Guess what? I found this out, and you post it and you tell people how they can do something based on something that you've learned. Like you do all the time.
I actually have one I'm going to do today. So that's a perfect example.
See, ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect example of where I was going for her, but she didn't take the bait earlier. So, so what's one of those things?
Yeah. So one of those things, just first of all, I've been training people since I was young. And like for jobs, my very first job when I was 16, I was the trainer. You know, so every single job, and I've had over 50 jobs. So every single job I've had, I have been the trainer. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it when somebody's not getting something. I'm training them. They're like, I don't get it. And then I can tap in and say, let me try a different way. So I'm able to come up with different techniques to train people on things until they get it. And it's not like, because a lot of times I see trainers or teachers where they just try to bang the same thing into your head and it just doesn't work. Right. And so, yeah, it was yesterday, I learned something new on ChatGPT, and I'm going to be doing a video about, how to do this new. I mean, it's so amazing. So amazing. I cannot wait to share it. I'm going to a Canva convention in 2 weeks, and I'm going to be training about new Canva things that I'm learning. Right. I just love teaching people. It's so much. I feel like a little selfish with it because I get probably so much more out of it than they do. That's what I just love about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do that all the time. And so I'm like, you always take information and you're always sharing it. So if there's anything that you want to know, ladies and gentlemen, probably just scroll down on Linda Sunshine West, her post, and it's probably there because she's always helping people in teaching and educating. So yes, the word education a lot of times is seen as synonymous with school, like formal school, but no, all of what we do is helping to educate. So thank you for that. So the next question, hopefully you're ready. Let me type it to you so you have it ahead of time. No.
Edge of my seat. I literally am on the edge of my seat.
So I remember one time, there was something that was, I don't know, somebody posted something and they said something about sunshine, but they were talking to me and you thought that they were talking to you. I'm like, people call me Sunshine too. Thank you very much, Miss Linda Sunshine.
Put in your name, okay? So we all know.
People have called me Sunshine a lot, but when you use that, or when people see that name, like, do people comment on your name or ask you, is that really your name, or what goes on with the whole inspiration of Sunshine for you? And when people see that,
it gets so many amazing comments, and I love it. No matter where I am, no matter who I'm talking to, whether it's in print or it's verbally in person or online or what have you. What's interesting about the name Sunshine is I was not always called Sunshine. People started calling me Sunshine about 6 years ago. And I looked at that, and there were like 4 different people in 4 different instances who did not know each other, all within a 6-week period of time or so, that people called me Sunshine. And I was like, there must be something here. Like I must be Sunshine. I just don't know it, And so I went ahead and adopted it legally on Facebook, and then put that Sunshine name on there. And what's interesting is I attend a lot of events, as you do, Crystal. You're going to a lot of in-person events, and I've been doing a lot of celebrity events lately. And I'll introduce myself. I say, my name is Linda Sunshine, and it immediately, every single person gets a big smile on their face. They go, Sunshine, wow, I love that. Or they just comment on it. And what I love about it is it's not my real name. However, it creates sunshine in the moment for people. And that right there, I think, is such a beautiful thing, because I'm not carrying the name around for me. It's not about me, but it's about what I can give to others, even just by saying the name. I mean, it's really incredible.
Right. Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm looking up something to see.
Oh, is it incriminating evidence? I'm going to delete it. Well, for your viewers, while Crystal's looking that up, so if you're on Facebook and you've done live videos, they're deleting the 6 months and older really soon, I think in June. So go check those out. If you have any videos that you want to save, go save them now. Okay, that's our special announcement.
That was the special announcement, of which people do need to know that. So I was looking up the word, because when you said that, it reminded me of the word persona. So that sunshine is your persona. And so I wanted to look it up, and because we're not supposed to have silence, so that's why she gave the little commercial. She knows that, and I know that too. And I was trying to hurry, but I didn't hurry. So I was attempting to see if that worked for what it is that you do or have with that name, Sunshine. And
I think
because
so.
it says
You know,
semi-fictional representation of a person typically used in marketing, design, and writing, and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it does, as soon as you say it, Linda Sunshine or Linda Sunshine West, it does create just a perception.
yeah, and it's interesting as I mentioned, people called me Sunshine, and it was random, and I'd never been called Sunshine the first like 54 years of my life, and suddenly I'm being called Sunshine by several people, all in a really short period of time, which I think that was my knock over the head to listen, and I never saw myself as Sunshine, and I don't know that I see myself as Sunshine right now, but by having that name, just by tacking that name onto my own name, has helped me to embody that's how I'm showing up. And so it helps me to show up that way more. It's kind of interesting how it's cyclical there. And it's helped me to learn to adopt that as my name. And now if people just call me Linda, I will correct them and say Linda Sunshine. So I own it. I own it.
Don't call me Linda. Call me Linda Sunshine.
Well, you can call
Like,
me
wow,
Linda,
okay.
but I'll correct you. I'll just say Linda Sunshine. It's
No, I'm saying like you just go for it. Like, don't you dare call me Linda only, But yeah.
I
And
don't
so
say that,
for
by the
me,
way, everybody.
and
I just say
don't-
it's Linda
no,
Sunshine.
She does not do that. She does it with a smile on her face. No, I'm just kidding. She doesn't do
With
that.
sunshine in my face, yeah.
Yeah, with sunshine in your face. And for me, like I've told the story, but I don't really tell the story that often because for me, I told my husband one time because I was on with somebody from India and I don't know if it was someone in the United States or Africa or something, like 2 or 3 times in one day. I was like, babe, I just got called, a genius, 2 to 3 times like in one day. And he's like, well, everybody knows that. I'm like, everybody does not know that. And he was like, unimpressed. He's like, well, because you are. I'm like, well, okay, well, thanks for celebrating with me. Like he didn't even celebrate the fact that the things that I was working on, the different projects and being able to analyze and troubleshoot and blah, 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 blah. He's like, wow, you're a genius all in one day. But I'm not going to put, Crystal Genius Richardson. It just doesn't flow,
Why not? Doctor.
It has
Dr. Crystal Genius
Yeah,
Richardson. Yeah.
whatever. But I do love to troubleshoot. I do love to dig into what's going on with people and their businesses and whatnot. So, okay. So Linda Sunshine West, now I can't not say it because she told me I have to say it.
Finally, after all these years.
So Linda Sunshine, what's one thing that you love about what it is that you do? You've already talked about the publishing, but how you came about it and then you were able to embody it. It wasn't that you've always done this. And you mentioned this when I interviewed you. You can't say you don't know this question because when I interviewed you at the summit in September, we talked about how you didn't even really I don't know if you didn't say you didn't like reading or writing or whatever, but now you're doing that as a profession. Can you just share how that came about and now it is something that you love, I think?
Yeah, I love this because it shows that our journeys are not always what we think they're going to be. And
Right.
I call myself an accidental publisher because I was never interested in reading and never interested in writing. The only time I ever read anything was an employment manual. When I started all those 50 plus jobs, I had to read an employment manual. So that was the only time I ever really read, when I had to. And I was just never interested in it. And writing definitely is not a skill that I don't see myself really as a writer, although I am a published author many times or 40 something times, I still don't see myself as a writer because I'm just putting some words on a paper and, people could read them and be like, oh, that's not really that good. And that's okay. I'm not looking for good. I'm looking to tell my story is all I am. I'm looking for the story to make impact is what it is. So how it all started though is 10 years ago, I started my personal development journey. And during that year, I was breaking through a fear every single day for a year. And I met Greg Reed, who became my mentor. Greg Reed was putting together a collaboration book called Footsteps of the Fearless. And he invited me because I was breaking through a fear every day that year. He invited me to be one of the authors in that book. And I joined that book. And then from there, it was at the end of that year, I broke through, a fear 365 days in a row. Greg looked at me and he said, what are you going to do about that? And I'm like, I think that's enough. I don't need to do any more. He goes, you need to write a book. because people need to hear your story. They need to hear your message about breaking through fears. So I went ahead and wrote that book. It took me over 1.5 years to write it. I published it. And then I didn't really tell anybody about it because I just was like, what's the big deal? It's my silly story. And then after that, I was like, I was in a book. I wrote a book. What's my next natural state of progression? This is a question I ask myself frequently because I want to keep growing. My next natural state of progression was to put together a collaboration book, just like Greg Reed did and put me in, And so that was what started it all. And then I started, sharing my story, writing my story, and just getting it out there. And it's been amazing, Crystal, because we've published over 500 authors in the last 3.5 years. And that was mostly through the collaborative books. And I'd say probably about 60% of our authors are first-time authors. So by me saying yes to this, I'm able to give the gift of helping others to share their stories. And that is what fuels me. It's not about, becoming a best-selling author and all that stuff. It's about helping them to share their story. And now I see them sharing their stories in different books, or I see them writing their own books, or, showing up on different shows, podcasts, whatever, sharing their story, because now they're no longer scared to share it. So that is what fuels me 100%.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. And ladies and gentlemen, you see how when she's ready for the question, she just like fires it off. Did you see the excellence in that answer? No.
I'm genius.
I'm a genius. See, I should have never told you that. I should have never. See, now it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue.
I'm going to put it on my computer so I don't forget it.
or not. Maybe your dog will come tear it down. That'll be great. And so thank you for that. And give everyone the name of your publishing company again.
It's Action Takers Publishing. And, I think I'm here today really to encourage people to just keep going forward, and whatever it is that you're dreaming, stop dreaming about it and make it your reality. You never know what's going to happen when you take that next step. You never know where your journey is going to take you. People ask all the time, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And here's my answer to that question. Why would I limit myself today to what might be possible in 5 years? Because 5 years ago, I was not a book publisher. It's only been 3.5 years. 5 years ago, if you asked me that question, I would not have thought about doing what I'm doing today. So this limitation that we put on ourselves is seeing our future as to what we think it's going to be. God puts things in our lives. He puts people in our lives all the time. And if we pass those by because we have our sights on that 5 years, then we're going to miss that opportunity. And so I just say, stay open to opportunities of things that can, really impact your life. You never know how they're going to impact you.
Stay open to opportunities. I think that's excellent. A lot of times we do those vision boards, and we do I do vision events, for people and whatnot, and writing down 3 to 6 to 9 month plans. And yes, going out, a ways and whatnot, but having where you can change the trajectory based on, listening to God first and foremost, but having where, there's different people that he puts in your path, just like Greg was in your path and in your ear. Okay, now what? Like, now what are you going to do? Period. Yeah. But what are you going to do about this? And you had no ambitions of opening up a publishing company. And I remember when you first started it, and I remember, I love is it a leopard? That
our cheetah, our logo is a cheetah. Yeah.
And how it just jumps off the page. Like, I love that.
Awesome.
It's really,
that was
really
my
cool.
idea.
Yeah. That was good. It was a genius idea. It was a genius. I'm sunshine and you're a genius. So
there we go.
But yes, just embracing what comes and going for it. So if there's anything that we can do, in our final comments here to encourage you to do that, it's what we're here for, is to encourage you, because Women's History Month this year is to talk about what has happened in the past, but also being a woman that makes history, and in what it is that you're doing today and tomorrow. And your tomorrow could be something totally different, just like we heard from Linda. She didn't have this in her back pocket as something she wanted to do. So I want to take this time to honor you, Linda, for a woman who is making history and in our community this was not something that people had on their radar that you would become and do, when they met you, when we met you at Secret Knock and other places. This was not something that was there. And now you're out there and doing it, and now being spotlighted for all of the people that you're helping. And now you're doing the gifting suites and doing things with celebrities, and it's just moving forward. And that's just awesome how you're able to help people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I see Patty Mays there and Angel, thanks for being there. And, it's interesting because, Crystal, I have been in a downward spiral lately. And so, just talking about it, this is one thing I think that is really important for us to really recognize is sometimes we need to talk out loud to other people about what we're doing and who we are, who we're being, in order to bring us out of that slump. Because I've been in a slump for the last couple of weeks, and talking to you today reminds me again, why? What is my why? Why do I do what I do? And for me to allow myself to dive down, is not good for me. And so it's good for me to talk about it. So thanks for that reminder and helping to lift me back up and back into where I am meant to be. And this is where I'm meant to be. And I do know that.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you should know that, because you have transformed so many lives, even before the book publishing, just with who you are, and just who you have been to me. Don't want to get emotional over here, but I really do appreciate your friendship. I am already. I'm getting all misty. I do really appreciate your friendship, and Patty's like 2 mother loads. Thank you so much.
I think that's good.
And rise, sister, rise, sister, rise. And we do know a lot, and you write and you read. You read everything that people have written in the books that come across your desk. And so you have a lot of inspiration coming across your desk, and a lot of things that you can hold on to. But even with that, and even myself, being a minister and pouring out in that manner and knowing God's word and all that, like, we know a lot, but sometimes we still have where those times come. So I do want to encourage you to, to keep your head up and continue to shine, because we all need you to shine some more. And after you do that, we need you to shine some more. We really do.
Okay. I promise.
Okay.
You've encouraged me. Thank you.
Okay.
I promise.
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And did you already give final comments, or you want to give a final comment?
I'll do one more final comment. Yeah, of course. The ultimate final comment is to do it because you're scared. I wrote my book, Do It Because You're Scared, because what I recognize is 99% of the time when we break through fears, the result on the other side is something amazing. So why are we depriving ourselves of that amazingness that's sitting over there for us on that other side? When you're feeling fear, you're not sure what the fear is, whatever it is, just ask yourself, like, what is the possibility of something that good can happen on the other side? And just go do it, and do it because you're scared. Let that fuel you forward instead of fail you backwards.
Awesome. So do it because you're scared. Love it. I do that almost every day. And there are statements out there, like, you need to at least do one thing every day that scares you.
I totally agree.
That helps you to live.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because, when I broke through those fears every single day for a year, it just got me used to breaking through fears that now I don't really, I'm not as many things are coming into my life right now that scare me. And I think it's a lot of it is because I like to say I exercised my fear muscle, even though I know it's not really a muscle, but I exercised the ability to break through a fear every single, time it comes up. And so now the important thing for me is to recognize that, oh, this is a fear. Like, if I don't recognize it's a fear, I'm not going to do it. But if I recognize it's a fear, oh, that's why I have to do it. And it's totally 100% changed my life.
Yeah. I remember when I jumped out of the plane, my 57th birthday, I'm like, okay, what is something that I really, really want to do, but do I really, really want to do it? Do I really, really want to do this? I'm like, I think I want to do it. But I'm scared, but I think I want to go ahead and try it, but you might die. But if you don't die, then it'll be amazing. But if you do, then you did something, you didn't allow it to have a hold of you. And jumping out of that plane did more than just help me to get over the fear of jumping out of the plane. Like the energy and the confidence that you get from doing something like that. If you live, no. Of course, I did look up the statistics. You know, you're more apt to get into a car accident or have like all these other accidents as opposed to dying jumping out of a plane. I had to do the stats review of it, of course. But it was really something that was tremendously amazing. Have you done that?
I have not. And it's interesting because my fears were so based in the fear of judgment that none of the fears that I broke through that year were costly. Like nothing, I didn't do any bungee jumping, eating bugs, jumping out of planes. I didn't do any of that stuff because my fears were so like just the fear of talking to people. That was huge. To do an interview like this, I would never have done that, 11 years ago. But it really is what opened the door to me expanding who I am as a human being. And it wasn't an external, like doing things outside of myself that were scary. Like I have no desire to jump out of a plane. I never have. And it's not about fear. It's just, I don't have any interest in doing that. It's like, why? I don't get it, And so that's okay. And my fears, still even today, any fears that do pop up do relate to that fear of judgment, which is the number one fear.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Reading Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil, those talk about, various types of fears. So yeah. Totally understand that. Well, I really appreciate you being on. And I think we'll be speaking related to some other things later on this evening. So thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being here on Women's History Month and being a woman who is also creating history. Linda Sunshine West.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to call me Sunshine. Thanks, Crystal, so much for putting this on and bringing these women together to share their brilliance and their genius with the world.
Just had to slide that in there. Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Well, there you have it. That was Linda Sunshine West. And don't forget the sunshine, okay? Don't forget it. So we have Patty saying the same here. I don't need to jump. However, we take leaps with Linda Sunshine. Yes, yes, yes. And it wasn't that maybe I did need to, when I jumped out of the plane, maybe I really did need to. And that harness, boy, I tell you, if you go and jump out and do the tandem jump, the harness is just ouch, ouch, ouch. So wear some extra padding under there for the part that's under your legs, like in your crotch area. If you ever do go, that's not something that they told me to do. And I wish that they had told me. They actually sell suits that have extra padding down there for that very, very reason. So if I did ever go again, I would either buy that suit or I would put on something that had extra padding down there. But other than that, it was amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think I put it on Facebook. And I guess if you heard the commercial that Linda did, that they're going to be getting rid of videos that are older than 6 months, to go ahead and save those if you don't have those saved. That's very important information. So I'm going to look that up and see if I can post that as well to help people to know that if they want to go back and look to see what they have on their timelines and get those saved, that would be awesome and amazing. Well, we have some others that are going to be joining us here in a few moments. We have a big lineup of people that will be coming on a little bit later. And while we're waiting for them, feel free to comment on a person who has transformed your life from a historical perspective. And we can post that and you can post it and then I can talk about it on here. We are both on Life Innovation Global TV on YouTube and on my Facebook page, as well as the women's Facebook page, Women of Impact and Innovation International, and on my personal Facebook page, as well as Innovative Leaders Network. So those are the various areas that you can find us. So what I want to talk about right now, as we're waiting for our next guest, is what is something that you can do? What is something that you can do in your life? It may not be that you want to even start a business. It may not be that you want to be a public speaker or do anything like that. But what is it that you can do to help impact someone's life on today? A lot of times we take for granted how important it is to some people if we just send them a text message and just say hello, that you were thinking about them, that you were praying for them, that they came across your mind. Is there anything that you can do for them? And even if you don't want to say or ask if there's anything you can do, just the fact that you just said hello, excuse me, sometimes is enough for people. One thing that has happened with me is that there's a number of people that I know that have committed suicide. There's people that I know that have had that they've been either they've been murdered or someone in their family has been murdered. And so it's something that doesn't necessarily come up if you don't know about it firsthand. And then if you say, hey, I was just thinking about you, that's something that could help someone not to commit suicide. And that has happened to me, that someone said that just by me sending them that message, they were thinking about ending it all. And so that's something that's very important for us to do, is just to reach out to people. And then also, related to the other thing, not to get like too heavy today, but we're talking about women in history. And a number of these people were women who made history in my life, that were close to me in my life, that are no longer with us because their life was taken. Is that it's important for us to reach out and say hello to someone that comes across our mind, because we don't know when the last time may be that we will be able to talk to them. And it could just be that it's sickness. A lot of people pass away during COVID. A lot of people, from time to time have car accidents, heart attacks, different things like that. And again, not to get too heavy, but this is women's history. And so if there's a woman, a man too, anyone in your life that comes across your mind, I'm saying it one last time, go ahead and reach out to them. Go ahead and be that person who cares enough to just say hello, even if it's someone, and I'll say this too, that you've had a beef with or have had a disagreement with, and that weight has been lifted for you because of forgiveness, that you have been able to help forgive. There is a forgiveness expert that will be on with us a little bit later who has a show on forgiveness. Forgive them and just say, hey, I was thinking about you, or hope you have a blessed day. That takes nothing away from you. And even if they still have ill feelings, it's still something that God lays it on your heart to do, then it is up to us to be obedient and to do that. So as we talk about women in history, as we talk about education, as we talk about inspiring, I hope that this inspires you to just go and say hello to someone. That's it. And now we don't even have to pick up the phone, the rotary phone back in the 60s and 70s. I'm not sure when we got the push button ones, but you don't have to like dial the numbers and wait for a long time to actually call someone. You can actually text them now and just say hello, or leave a message on their Facebook. Their name comes up for their birthday. Even if you've had, some ill feelings, or they've had some ill feelings, you still can have where you reach out and say hello to them. And so that's just something that I wanted to share. In relation to Women of Impact and Innovation International, we have a number of areas that we will be opening up in April to have where we put online to discuss with you if you would like to be a part of some of our different committees. One of them is in business and leadership. And so that is led by Dr. Lotus Richer. And she is a phenomenal woman who has helped us do a number of things in our organization. We're going to be doing more throughout 2025, going into 2026. And so I would love for you to be a part of business and leadership. If that's something that you are already in, you're a natural leader, or you have a business, or you want to open up a business, between Lotus and myself, we would be able to help you with that. And we are going to have various forums for you to share your expertise related to business and leadership. Another area is wealth and investments. For wealth and investments, we've had Ava was on yesterday sharing just some really great gems, some related to finance, what she does in finance, but mainly just in being a woman and being a mom. She had some really great inputs. And I posted one of her reels in our group, the Women of Impact and Innovation group. If you want to join that Facebook group, we would love to have you. If you type in WOIII, then it should come up and you can request to be a member if you are a woman. And so Nancy, who's coming on Monday, as we culminate this month, Nancy and Ava are over wealth and investments. And there's some things that we've been doing, including myself, related to financial preparedness. So if you want to have where you do more, to be prepared for your future, to be where you're putting things in place to have your children and your grandchildren to be more prepared, because there's things that you can even open up and do now to help them. Even with a book that I have that I share often and have had her on my shows, from Laurel Langmeyer and her business partner, called Make Your Kids Millionaires. Make Your Kids Millionaires is an awesome, amazing book. And it goes through how you can strategize and how you can put things in place starting from age 0 to 4, and then 5 to 8, and then 9 to 11. It goes all the way up to age 18, and then 18 and over. So Make Your Kids Millionaires is an awesome book for that. And then a book that I'm personally going to be having come out in relation to unblocking and unlocking wealth. It talks about a number of areas that is going to be fun for me to share, but also it's going to be an anthology if it's one that you want to have some input in. I can give you some more information on that, and a number of other books, but I'm not here to necessarily talk about that. What I wanted to say was, for Wealth and Investments, we have an area of Women in Impact and Innovation International that you can gain more information as well as share your expertise in those areas. My particular area is technology and innovation. So if you are into automation, you're into AI, into other areas of technology and software, I would love to have you be a part of the technology and innovation group in Women of Impact and Innovation International. And then we have marketing and publishing. You just met Linda Sunshine West. She said, don't forget the sunshine. It would be great for you to be on with her and myself related to marketing and media. I do a lot with TV shows, radio shows, and red carpet events. If you want to have red carpet interviews at your event, I would love to come and highlight you. We do red carpet events online, and we also do them in person. And then we have outreach and mentorship. We're going to be doing some of that here in the United States, as well as going and doing some outreach and ministry, a business tour and speakers tour in October in Kenya, in Africa. So if you would like to join us in Africa in October, we would love to have you. And even coming to our annual summit here in Arizona in September, October, we'll be providing those dates. We would love to have you as a potential speaker or panelist for our upcoming summit the end of this year as well. Let's see, what are some of the other areas? We have solidarity and justice. If you are an attorney of any sort and want to be a part of that committee, would love to have you there. And then health and wellness, mindset and well-being. So we have a number of different areas. There's a lot going on in health and wellness these days with everyone, that we need to do what we need to do to keep our health up at any age. And so we have younger women, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm in my 60s, 70s. I don't know if there's anyone in their 80s that are in this group. I know we have someone that's in their 70s that are in this group, but we have women of all ages. So join us. It would be great to have you. All right. So we are getting ready for our next speaker to come up. She is behind the scenes. Let's see if we can get her on the screen. There she is, the beautiful Dr. Betty. And I met her years ago, and it would be great to get her on the screen and get reacquainted. So without further ado, here is Dr. Betty. Hey, beautiful.
Oh my goodness. I cannot keep enough notes. How are you, my beautiful queen?
I am doing well. So blessed. How are you? It's been a minute.
It has been. I actually saw you on a show that we both were on, but I couldn't speak to you. It was one of those masterminds, and I'm like, oh, Dr. Richardson, I know her. So it is a pleasure to be blessed and graced with your presence, woman of God.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much So before we jump in, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone, and then we'll get into a little conversation, okay?
Okay, I'll do my best. So, as she said, I am Dr. Betty Speaks, and I am the owner of A Life Change Now. I've had this business now for, oh gosh, since 2014. How was that? And I enjoy influencing others with hope through A Life Change Now. You see, I'm retired from the United States Army, so I have a zillion of accolades, but I'm still a servant leader. I still believe in serving others and influencing them with hope. Hope help other people excel. Hope help other people enjoy life. Hope simply help other people every single day. And that life change now is live intentionally for eternity. And the word now is there's no other way. This is a new opportunity window. So I have a lot of acronyms for the word now. And I'm going to pass that back on over to you, Dr. Richardson. Just that simple.
Just that simple. Just that simple. Now, you and I are involved in a number of things from a worldwide perspective as well, right? And know some of the same people that have inspired people, not just nationally, but internationally. So go ahead and just share with us like what you've been able to do to inspire people. And some of it you've just said in your introduction, but is there one thing that you can hone in on that you've done to inspire people? But the trick of this question is it's because someone else has inspired you and now you enjoy inspiring people in that same way. Do you have something like that to share?
Absolutely. I have to tell you that as a fierce leader, a veteran, and a coach, I continue to mentor globally and inspire others with my message of transformation. Definitely reminds me that our scars are not shameful, they are just sacred. So that is one of the things I enjoy doing the most because I have been on both friendly and unfriendly grounds, and my initiative in civility is definitely leaving an imprint like so many women have left before us. So definitely I just love to inspire others to know that their scars should not be shameful ones, but they should be sacred scars.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's awesome. And that is a way for us to think about that. Like everything that happens, I tell people there is no failure. Everything is a lesson learned, and we can either choose to live from the lesson or die. And
Yes.
and I think the same thing related to scars. We can either have where, that scar is there as a wound, or it's there as showing a triumph for us that look right here, this is what happened and this is what I did about it. Look right here, this is what happened and this is what I did about it. Look right here, did I ever tell you there was this movie? It's like, did I ever tell you about the time I got struck by lightning? And like all throughout the movie, and I think he had gotten struck by lightning like about 6 or 7 or 8 times. It was hilarious. but it reminded me of ourselves. Like, did I ever tell you about the time related to this scar, related to this scar, related to this scar? And then the
Right.
lesson that I learned from that. So I love that analogy. I love it. So
Yeah.
talk to us about a little bit about what you're doing right now. What's on your plate right now, Dr. Betty?
Oh my goodness. I think I've had at least 15 or 20 speaking events this month alone because I enjoy empowering women's, not to have power over them. Some people you find they want to be in charge. They want to be the one with the most power. But I enjoy empowering others. Honestly, that's where my hope and analogy comes in. So I've had all types of speaking events this particular month. I am teaching at Raul Bible college, a college that's just getting off the ground, and I will be teaching the Seven Mountains this Saturday. And I loved it. I heard you speaking about wealth and your kids' book that you taking them to becoming millionaires. So the Seven Mountains is something that I am proud to speak on and even do workshops on and do a symposium on. I have that course this weekend. And then Saturday night, I'll be speaking in Rhode Island. Well, actually, it's a virtual, but again, empowering women and doing things for those women there, even in Rhode Island. So it's good to be that woman of the world, a global speaker, and I enjoy doing just that because, like I said before, I'm a born leader. I think leadership just follows me. It was what I did in the military, and I'm still doing just that. Being a retired veteran has definitely not retired me because I find myself still empowering others with leadership. I have kids that I take to golf courses on the weekend and do basketball games with. So I try to, like you mentioned earlier about the ages. I heard you say join the group. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 60s, and we may have some in their 80s. So just stay young, live intentionally for eternity. I'm spreading that throughout my messages that I've been giving all month long, based on the fact that we are still carrying the torch for women in history and those women that are still making histories. It doesn't matter their stories, their strengths, their sacrifices, their struggles, and their successes. That's what we will be talking about, or we have been talking about all month. We have been advocating that. So this is what Betty Speaks has been doing. Each month we have a different audience and a different topic to teach others on. So I hope I answered that question of yours.
No, you did. You did. And you brought up another area that I love to talk about. You mentioned about living intentionally. Yes, 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 yes. And amen to that. So what are some tips that you can give us on being able to do that on a daily basis?
Oh, good question. So let me tell you, when I came up with that living intentionally for eternity, God had given me this book to write back in 2014 because one of my girlfriends had just gotten back from Afghanistan, and she was going through a very hard time. And I've been on joint task force, meaning that I have been on assignments with the Marines, the Air Force, and those that were in the Navy, Army. We've all been on assignments together. So she had been somewhere and gone through some things in life that were very challenging for her. So I told her I would be in Atlanta this weekend and we could sit down, talk, collaborate, and go over those things that you are stuck in, because I think I heard you say something about stuck and getting unstuck too earlier. But she was stuck. But by the time I got there, checked into my hotel, I got a phone call from her mother asking had I seen her, and I said not yet. She's my next stop. I was just putting my things away, and I'm going to go over to her house. But then something urged me to turn the television on. The concern in her mom's voice was alarming as well, and so I never watched TV. I don't even like watching TV today because of all that's going on. It's just a bunch of negative information that flows through my mind. So I kind of steer away from it. But needless to say, I did turn the TV on, and I did see the breaking news: female soldier committed suicide. It was like I forget the proper name of it, but she had killed her 3 children and then herself, and she was 6 months pregnant. I heard you speaking earlier about suicide. It took me back there. So when I was like, what could I have done? Could I have gotten there a day earlier? And I'm thinking, what could Betty Speaks have done? But then I listened to the news as the next day, they said, well, she missed several of her appointments. She was supposed to come in for these mental health appointments, but she never came in. She never called to say she would late. They blame her suicidal or her actions on her. Okay, but what did you do? What can we do when there's a cry? So you have to remember that we have to teach people to live intentionally for eternity. What does that consist of? You know, if you drive a car, it has 4 tires and perhaps a spare. So, Dr. Richardson, I heard you talk about health and wealth. So, living intentionally for eternity means that as you go on your journey in life, you got to take care of all your components. Treat yourself
Right.
as if you are that car. You have to take care of your personal needs, your professional needs, your health, your spiritual needs, and then your financial needs. These are the components that keep us going. These are our components to living intentionally for eternity. You can't drive your car, or you can't move your body without your components. Some people can, some people don't have 2 legs, 2 arms, or the things that they need to move their bodies. But just know that those components to life, living intentionally for eternity, are just as essential as moving your car or moving your body or anything that you have value that have different components. Look at your life journey in the same manner. We have these components, Dr. Richardson. We have the ability to be professional, to learn professionalism. I heard you speak of all of them. Join us. We will teach you all these things. We can help you with these things. Professionalism, you know. Then there's financial literacy. That's a component in life. There's personal development. That's a component of your life. There's your health and finance. I think I said financial literacy twice, but when you think of
It's
those,
okay.
those are the components, Dr. Richardson, to live
Right. Yeah.
intentionally for eternity.
Right. Living intentionally for eternity. That's awesome. Because each and every day we have a choice when we wake up, when we have a
Mhm.
choice to embrace the day and to think about, okay, what is it that I'm going to get accomplished today? But before that, putting on the armor of God and having where we just cover ourselves in prayer and meditation and lifting our life up to Him, and then saying, okay, God, order my steps on today. Who is it that you want me to impact on today? Who is it that you
Yeah.
want me to reach out to today? What is it that
Spiritual
you want
growth.
me to do with the belt of truth and the feet shot with the preparation of the gospel of peace? Like, who is it that I need to be peaceful with on today, based on maybe what happened yesterday? And so a lot of us being better than yesterday it's actually in a song of mine, and it's a show that someone else was talking about having as well. That title, better than yesterday, is what it's all about, because we wake up, which means we made it to today. And so His compassions are new every morning, and it's up to us to embrace them and to live intentionally. We cannot live intentionally if we don't have an intention. And so having where we write down 2 or 3 different things, for me it's 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 intentions. I tend to get a lot done. So that's what's important. And for me too, being, I've been in and out of various things related to sickness, and since COVID, I lead a very healthy lifestyle, but COVID tried to take me out, like seriously back in 2020, and there were no hospital beds left that particular time. We went to the urgent care, and then they ended up keeping me. My husband was like, well, can I come in and say goodbye to her? And they were like, no, we have to immediately send her to another hospital, of which they ended up not being able to. So he had to come and get me and bring me home and nurse me back to health himself. And so it was just a really trying time. And then having long COVID, and I've had some health issues ever since, even with all of the vegetables that I eat every day, and carry vegetables in my purse and in my pocket, and my nuts and all the different things that I do, my flaxseed and my chia seed and all, all the different things. It still has where, God has not lifted that particular thorn from me, right? So living intentionally every day. Intention is one of my words. And I actually
Right.
have it in an acronym, Dr. Betty. You talked about now, I think was one of yours, and mine is FIT, to live a
Wow.
fit life, FIT, focused, intentional, and tenacious.
Yes.
Focused, intentional, and tenacious. We need to be focused on what God has for us. We need to be intentional about our life, and we need to be tenacious as we go after whatever it is that He has stated. Now, with all the things that happen in life, not just with me, but we have a family, and then being a minister, you have extended family. Sometimes it is where things get behind because of us having to serve. I remember during COVID, at one time, one particular week, there were 7 deaths in that one week. And so
Wow.
being able to have to minister, to those various families, and some of them had litigations, and it's like all different kind of like mess, quite frankly, with some of the families. Others, it was like peaceful. But, we have a job to do here, Dr. Betty. And so the fact that you have gone across, even just this month, gone across the nation, speaking and inspiring and doing all of what you do, I just want to commend you with that, because that is a part of being focused, intentional, and tenacious in what it is that you're
Yes.
doing. So I wanted to thank you for sharing that, that you are a person that's here with a voice and with a message that you are here to share with nations. So thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I tell you, I there's another thing I like to share that I thought of when I got your message about who wants to speak this month. But, I saw something that said, even in hero is the word her. And I can't remember where I saw that at, but it's so profound, because God birthed in me the spirit of a hero. And it's like you hear some people say shero, but that word hero definitely has her in it. And I try to walk in that calling every day. And I sense that in you too, Dr. Richardson. So let me break down to you what hero is. That H is for hope giver. I've already shared with everyone that I am definitely a hope giver, helping other people excel, helping other people enjoy life, and doing my best to help other people every single day. You see, I share hope with the hopeless because I've been there. You talked about COVID, and I want to tell you about cancer. Finding out that I had cancer on August 8th, 2018 at 8 o'clock in the morning, the year of all the eights. That was devastating to me. I did not cry. I wailed because I'm thinking I've already had a battle. I was on a battlefield. I had real bullets, I just had a real weapon, real ammunition, real things, to fight for my life and the lives of my soldiers and for my country. But after wailing, I remember hearing a voice saying, "Are you done weeping? This is not about you. You're going to live and not die." I'm not going to die, you know? Go reread Deuteronomy 14:2. Deuteronomy 14:2. I can't even remember reading that. But just as clear as you and I are here talking, I heard the voice say, "Go read Deuteronomy 14:2." After reading that, the words that stuck out was chosen one. You are my
Wow.
chosen one. So
Wow.
now faith is the substance of those things hoped for, the things that we hope for. Most of us say, "I'm not ready to die yet. I want to live." But I didn't cry, I wailed. So when you read Hebrews 11:1, it said faith is the substance of those things hoped for. So be that hope giver. That's the H in hero. So then the E is empowered by faith. I stand strong not by my own power, but by the power in Him. That's why when you live intentionally for eternity, you have to have some type of spiritual being in you. That has to be one of your components. I stand strong not by my own power, but in Christ. I'm telling you, Dr. Richardson, when you read Philippians 14:13, I know you know it because I've seen you there. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's the E in hero. And then R, you have already talked about R. You said resilient, being resilient. You know, we have to be resilient in our trials. And that's the one thing that being a hero, being the her in your O is all about, is resilience. We are some of the toughest women in the world. Women are some of the toughest people in the world. How is that? Every storm I face made me stronger. Every storm I face have made me stronger. And I have to be honest to share that with you. And when you realize the storms that you have overcome, you can begin to say the same thing. Every storm that you have faced have made you stronger. And I want to tell you the scripture that this falls upon is Second Corinthians. Second Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. I'm not making this up. It's in that basic information before leaving Earth. This is why you have to live intentionally for eternity. You go back to that basic information before leaving Earth and realize that every hard press on every side, you can be that, but you don't have to be crushed. And then the O in hero is overcomer by grace. You see, Dr. Richardson, I felt your pain when you said you had COVID. I felt that. And my history isn't defined by defeat. It's marked by victory. And that's what I heard. Your history isn't defined by defeat. It is marked by victory. So when you go back to Romans chapter 8, verses 37, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. We're more than conquerors through him who loved us. And then that young lady that is behind she redefined the barriers to COVID. She's proof that faith and science can work hand in hand. She's the scientist that came up with, mostly the cures for COVID, the lives not dissipating was Dr. Corbett. I want to say her name is Kissamakia. I know it's Kizz something. I'm almost about to call her your first name, Dr. Richardson, but it was a woman, is what I want you to know. You see, she set about her work vigorously, and that's in Proverbs 31:17. What she did was she went for a cure vigorously so she could be able to save lives. So with that, I want to yield the mic back over to you, my sister.
I yield my time. We are in Congress. We are in Congress. Congress is in session right now, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Well, that was great. And hopefully you got that acronym. And with the accompaniment of AI, I'm sure they are going to utilize that one as one of the snippets that we get out of this. So we definitely will be publishing that as a snippet for Hero. And it sounds like, I think we mentioned this before, but we really need to make this happen this time, that we have some books that we need to write together. We really do, because we have so many different things in common that we need to just go ahead and make it happen.
Yes, because we even dressed the same today. I mean, the same texture of the colors,
Yeah. Looking good.
Yes, we just have that same color scheme going on. I couldn't find my red glasses, though.
Okay, I have some extra ones. I can mail them to you real quick, so you can have them. But yeah, that was amazing. The Hero, and Hero has her. Wow, I've never heard that or looked at that in that manner, and it's just right there in front of us. And sometimes that's how life is. That there's things that are just right smack dab in our face that we just don't even see. And so to be able to extract that and then do it so eloquently and then have scriptures to back every single thing is just amazing. I love acronyms and using words as acronyms to be able to give forth life to people. We were talking about fear with Linda Sunshine West, and that's one that a lot of people say false evidence appearing real.
Right.
And mine is FEAR, fresh energy awaiting a reset.
Yes.
Fresh awaiting reset, because we can be fearful and say like, oh my gosh, what's about to happen? I don't know what's about to happen. But, or you can be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's about to happen, but I know that God orders my steps and we're just going to go for it, in Jesus' name. If Jesus says the same, we're going to go for it. And so you can still have the, oh my gosh, but it doesn't need to be the fearful one. And it's how we use the cortisol in our system, the serotonin, the oxytocin, the dopamine, is how we use all of that to either go to the right or go to the left. And so scientifically, as well as spiritually, there's a lot that goes on in the word fear. And then once we get through whatever it is, when he takes us through, then we see that we have victory. We see that it wasn't necessarily, quote unquote, as bad as we thought, or even if it was, how can we use it as a lesson learned? Every single conversation on here goes back to the lessons learned. And so if we let fear conquer us, if we let fear have a hold on us, then how many lives would not be saved that were meant to be saved by us doing our part? How many businesses would not be started because we didn't do what we were supposed to do as our part? How many families would be in financial ruin because we didn't do the thing that we were supposed to do to tell them how to be financially free? How many, like I can just continue to go on. How many people would not have good health if we don't talk about our health or talk about our challenges? How many couples would be divorced if we don't talk about what we went through in our marriage and how we were able to make it through? We can do the how many, we can just go on and on and on with the how many, right, Dr. Betty?
Yes, I agree. This is why, he said, you're my chosen one. And I'm thinking, really? This is not about you. Some things are not about us. We're supposed to, as a leader, we're supposed to educate others on how I got over, my soul looked back and wondered how I got over. That's what we have to do.
I'm ready to do the dance for it.
I know you. That's how I fell in love with you, watching you and your praise dancing.
I'm dancing on Sunday. I've been inviting everybody and their mama and the cats and dogs to come. You can fly into Arizona too to come.
All right. Is it Scotland, Arizona? Oh, that's in Arkansas. Yes.
No, it's in Arizona. It's in Mesa, Arizona. And I dance all the time. But no, this is our church anniversary, our 11th church anniversary for Work While It's Day Ministries, Bishop Lelton Davis. And so it's going to be a big, big celebration. So I'm just excited to be and honored to be asked to be on program for Sunday. And so the song has to do with accepting God's promises and releasing them into the earth, because there's a lot of promises in the Bible, and God has said, that we are designed peculiar and uniquely for a reason, but we have to accept that and then go forward with what he has given us. And so I am what you have designed me to be, is what it says, during the song. And it also talks about God's promises. And so the name of the song is Manifest, but it's not from the world's view of manifest. It's from the spiritual view of the fact that God has designed all of us uniquely. It's by Jonathan Nelson. Jonathan Nelson, and it's called Manifest, and I can't wait. I just can't wait. I'm just so excited to minister that on Sunday, to help to release some things to some people that need to have it released. Because a lot of us walk around, one of the sermons actually that I preached, I don't know if it was like about 5, 6 years ago. And then I repeated portions of it about 3 months ago, is that, the question was, are you a constipated Christian? Because we take in. We go to this summit, to this conference, this Bible study, this Sunday school class, this sermon, this like all these different things. We watch this show, that show, all these different YouTubes, all these things we're taking in. But what are we releasing? What are we giving out, doing in the world based on what has been given to us? Or are we constipated because we take it in and don't give anything out?
I
That's
love that.
yeah, yeah. So it's time for us to release some stuff. And so, yeah, that's
I'm gonna
going to
have to go
be on
look that one up.
hmm hmm
That is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That was good right there. Yes, so I definitely want you to tag me on a lot of the things that you're doing. I as you were speaking earlier, I did write down WOII, and it's so funny because I am a part of another a ministry. It's WO World of Life Ministry. It is, and I'm an ambassador, UN ambassador with through them. So
hmm
that I love ministry. It's like being tethered with the right mindset keeps you on the right track, you know.
It
So
does. It does. And yeah, we are a Christian women's business group. And so we would love to have you. You said leadership follows you. You are a leader and all that. So we need to get you hooked in, Dr. Lotus and the rest of us that are on the leadership board for business. And then the
mhm.
international portion of what we do and what you're saying related to the UN, definitely, with the other organization. But we all are one body in Christ
Yes,
from a
that's
kingdom
the
perspective.
yes.
So yeah, would love to have you on that. And if you're ever available on any Saturday morning, we would love to have you come and share Hero or whatever else you might want to share with us on our Bible study, because we have the canvas and the clay is every Saturday morning. What time zone are you in?
Eastern. So there's a 3 hour
Eastern.
difference, I believe. It's
Yeah, so it's
12:13
at
now.
7. So it'd be 10 a.m. on any Saturday morning. You would be able
Okay.
to you would be able to join us on any Saturday morning at 10. Um,
I would love that at
for Bible
10.
study with the women's Bible study. It's on Zoom. So I'll send you that information. I'll send you the information about WOIII and for the canvas and the clay. And I'm going to
Oh my
contact you about Hero. We got to talk about this whole Hero thing just a little bit more, just a little bit.
You're gonna love it. Yesterday, I talked about the princess, being a virtuous woman, and last Saturday we talked about Daughters of the Crown. It's just so much, and it's
Mhm.
all information from the Bible. People are just like, "Are you kidding me?" It's all, and I love Daughters of the
Mhm.
Crown. I as I went
Mhm.
to the podium and my crown was not on my head straight, Dr. Richardson. Everyone was screaming, "Your crown is crooked! Your crown is crooked! Your crown is crooked!" But not one of them came up to fix my crown. So that was like the
Wow.
opening message, instead of embarrassing me or pointing me out to the crowd, you just could have simply came over and fixed my crown. If I see
Mhm.
your slip hanging, I'm not gonna, "Hey, your slip is hanging," you know.
Right, right. I do
I
that
would
all the
say
time. The
just
lady was about to dance a few weeks ago and her tag was all out. So I just went up behind, like the music hadn't started. So I ran down there trying not to fall down the stairs, right? Ran down from the pulpit and just went behind her and just tucked it in and just gave her a little bit of hug and just like went
uh-huh,
on,
yes,
put
be discreet with it. Don't
and
let everybody know my
somebody,
crown is
right.
so,
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
love
yeah,
that. Yes. But
yeah.
so it's
That's
been
good. That was
good.
a good lesson.
Hmm.
What'd you say?
I said, this has been great being with you. I
Yeah,
love
this has
it.
been awesome. It's been great to get back in touch. I was really happy to see when you said, "Oh, me." So really appreciated that. So it is on now, Dr. Betty. You're gonna be tired of me, but it's on now. Okay, we have some
I
stuff we
love
need to
it.
do.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Madam Queen.
Madam Queen. Awesome, awesome. Well, God bless you. We have our next guest is behind the stage, ready to walk, rock and roll. So you be blessed, and thank you for getting the memo on the colors to wear. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, and you have a blessed remainder of your day today as we celebrate Women in History and Women's History Month. God bless.
Blessings.
Awesome. So that was Dr. Betty. We really appreciated having her on. And now we have a very extremely important person in my life. We just recently got more connected, and actually a family member who's on, who is also a genius. We talked about being a genius and being sunshine earlier with Linda Sunshine West. So I want to bring up none other than Miss Tiffany.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello, hello, hello. Sorry if my lighting is not so great. I ran and hid in the teacher's conference room. So we apologize in advance for any interruptions. So.
Do not apologize. Like, it's a matter of being here. Showing up is more than half of what is required of us in life, right? So yes. You did what you needed to do to show up and meet me as well. So welcome. Thank you for being here today. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
What'd you say?
I said thank you for having me. Yes.
Oh, yes. Thank you for being here and accepting the call. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone, and then we'll have a little conversation.
All right. I am Tiffany Makeup-son. I reside in Georgia. I'm having a full circle moment in life where I've left corporate America and I am kind of pouring into my community and the things that matter to me. I am a special ed educator and children's book writer.
Awesome. And that she is. We had where Tiffany came to our vision.
A bad connection because I don't see Dr. Richardson anymore. Are you there?
Can you see me now? Yes. Yes, I'm here. I was saying that you came to our Vision Collective, and we were talking about some different things related to your books. And so, what inspired you to be a writer?
I have always had a deep appreciation for written words, but I think the inspiration is in the children that I see day in and day out, the ones in my household, the ones in my family, and the ones that I'm blessed enough to be able to pour into and build community with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. And so being inspired by those around us, and you mentioned the children that you come in contact with, and is very important as far as us being the history that they are going to see, and then so that they can then also go on to create history. So how did that play out in your life? Like, who was your inspiration growing up that helped you to become who you are today?
Boy, I can't say that it was just one. We were raised with, I was lucky enough that my mom's mother and sisters and my great grandmother, we all lived on the same block. So to the right side of me, I had 5 strong women that crossed generations. The youngest was just 9 years older than me. And then, there's my grandmothers and 3 or 4 people in between. And right across was my great grandmother. And the blessing in that is that I got to see how to be. I got poured into, me and my siblings alike. We were able to be blessed with wisdom, knowledge, even the ability to see what life meant and how life was for my aunts, whether to repeat or make sure not to repeat it, I was able to do. So I attribute my knowledge and my growth and the people that poured into me, Willie Lee Clark, Ruby Berry, Karen Slaughter, Sharon Clark Thompson, Jacqueline Clark, rest in peace, and Cassandra Berry Jones. Those are the women those are the people who poured into me and helped really, really, really help me understand how to architect my path.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Excellent. So I love the word architect. I'm a wordy, as you know, and so how to help you to architect your life, which means that there was a foundation. It means that there were building blocks. It means that there were things that were the overarching portion of what it is that and who you are today. And so, having a foundation like that, that also helps you to provide a foundation for others and to be a support. And you've played a big, huge support role for us in Women of Impact and Innovation International, as well as in some things that we're doing across the waters with the students in Africa in that program. And I think I don't know if you're on the message or not in WhatsApp, but I think I have the last 2 pieces of information I need in order to do some things for them related to scholarships and getting them over here to the United States to do business. And so you've been instrumental in that as well. So how do you teach people? Is this something even that can be taught? Nowadays, there's so many people that want to be out in the forefront, but we all need foundational people to be support as well. And it's not that you don't have gifts and talents. When we had the Vision Collective event, wow, did you shine? Like you shine faux real, not FOR real, but faux, faux real. And everybody's like, wait, what? Oh my gosh. It was great. And so is it a way to teach people how to be okay having where a portion of your life is foundational for someone else or for something else, and then there are going to be your opportunities to shine? Is that something that you instill in children as well?
Yeah, it's not so much what you do. It's not so much kind of who you are. It's how you are to others. We all shine in our own way. And what I've learned is that we are a tapestry. You, as good as I can give, I get. And where I see a need, my goal is to fulfill it, make it better, whether that puts me in the back or in the front, wherever I need to be is where I want to be. Part of that comes from just being a Christian, right? Being in service to others and earnestly living my life in a way that benefits others. When I have an interaction with someone, I want them to feel like they've been bettered because of said interaction, whatever that means in that context of that conversation, right? So I don't know that it's anything that you can teach other than by example, or at least that's how I've done it so far. I am thinking through how to turn that into a lesson plan or a syllabus that's all about citizenship, like being a good person and thinking forward and thinking broadly about circumstances and just being present. So once I figure out how to teach it, I will definitely let you know.
Well, that and all of the different things that I do in one of the communities that I'm in, it's called civility. So it's civility, actually. Yeah. So you can call it citizenship, you can call it whatever you want, but that is what we teach. Part of what these foundational elements are, because there's so many people. There was a post. Let me see if I can pull it up, and I'll have to keep talking so that there's no silence. I did this earlier trying to pull up something, and so the person gave like a little commercial break while I was trying to find something here. Here it is. I found it. You see how I just talked through that while I was trying to find it. I don't know if you can see. You can barely see it. You can see that there's a bunch of people on there, and I'm going to read it. But there's a bunch of people. Their arm is out. Can you see that their arms are out? A little bit, just sort of slightly. Okay, so it's everyone taking pictures of themselves and doing selfies and talking and whatnot. So the item says here, it's by True Theory, and it says, never has a generation so diligently recorded itself accomplishing so little.
Oh, that's deep.
And the author is, never has a generation so diligently recorded itself accomplishing so little.
Exactly. Because
so
I feel
when you
like
think about all of their arms are out, like, we want to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. But what are we actually doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
What's the outcomes? What are your outcomes? What are the measurables? what can you, like, oh yeah, I took a picture here. I look like I'm living this life, but a life of purpose has a completely different feel from a life of flash, right? There's the concept of the moment and the movement. A movement is transformative. A moment is fleeting. And I think this is where I am in my life, where at 20 years, I got the best of everything. I had the salary. I could do whatever I wanted to do. I was not fulfilled, nor was I couldn't say that I was happy in every facet of life. Today, I can say absolutely, I wake up with a smile on my face and I walk through the day with a smile on my face. And when people see me coming because they see my smile, their smile pops up. So I'm walking in alignment with said purpose. And it is a movement. So completely different. And my earnest prayer is that our generation and the generations that I'm trying to touch recognize that and live a little bit on this side.
So I'm just going to go ahead, as I normally do, is just change your verbiage just a little bit.
Okay.
The generation you're trying to touch, excuse me. Do you want to rephrase that?
I am touching. And when I say try, the generations I am touching and intend to touch and will be touching today, tomorrow, and every day after that.
Okay. Oh, that's what I thought you meant. That was what I thought. That was what you. That's what you wanted to say, right?
Yes. Words matter.
The words do matter, and it's not just words for me changing it just to change a word. It is because I've already seen and witnessed the lives that you're changing. And so if I hadn't, I'd probably just go ahead and let you go ahead and say, try, and just say, okay, well, thank you for the interview. Our time is up and God bless you. But you are changing lives. And with the stories that I've been able to see and read and witness on different things that are going to be coming out in your future and all of our futures, it's amazing. It's phenomenal. And you are touching lives, which means you're touching generations. So thank you for that. So the theme for the theme for Women's History Month has to do with us joining together and uniting. This particular year, every year it's a little bit different. Joining together, uniting, it has to do with the educational portion, and then it talks about inspiration across generations. And so, again, you are embodying all of that, like working together with people and helping to do what you do foundationally behind the scenes, and then the educational portion, you're actually in education right now as we speak in the break room or wherever you are. But even beyond that, like, you have so much to offer in these courses that you're going to be unleashing here soon. And then the across generations, inspiring generations, you're already doing that as well, starting with what you're doing with these children's movements. I'll just say the children's movements, because the children's movements will help adults as well as children. And then they will take that into their future, into their future, and their future. So it's already going to be across generations. So I just can't wait for you all to see what my sister for real, not just calling her for real, what she's doing. Look, what we're doing. I think I was up to, like, I don't know what, 17%. I don't know, 12.5, 2.3%.
You was up there. You deserve it all too, honey. Let me tell you. You deserve it all.
Oh my gosh, you can go back down to 2.3%. Just give me a crumb off the table. But it's really, really awesome and amazing. So I can't wait to have the rest of the world witness this amazingness. This is a phenomenon. Which way is okay? You are over here. There's one on the screen sometimes is over here. I'm pointing over here. This woman over here is phenomenal. Very brilliant mind, and I can't wait for you all to witness what it is that I'm alluding to that I can't talk about right now. I just can't talk about it.
Exciting. So, it's going to be amazing.
To secrecy. Only for a little while longer. Oh my God. Yes. And so in a secret nature, how has that been going since you've been back from the Vision Collective? I want you to just touch on you came to the collective, like how that was for you as we get ready to close out your segment. How was that for the Vision Collective?
Oh my goodness. We talk about brilliant minds. My sister, Dr. Crystal Richardson, gave such guidance that blew my mind after every 10, 15-minute conversation. And talk about a fire starter. She starts fires, or a thread. Here's this thread. Follow this thread, because she lights the way. Let me just say that she lights the way. And even as good as the idea that I showed up with, she helped me elevate it and continue to elevate it. And all I can say is that work still continues. I did slow down just because of I went to a different space in schools where I'm here long term. So I don't have the free time that I did at once, but we are still moving. Stories are still coming out, and I'm driving in this morning and had a whole nother idea, like, I gotta get to a pen and paper. So it's not just you said it, don't you wish we all had it? Generations and my contemporaries are about to have a something to look at and something to help them through their parenting and maturation as parents. So but
Awesome.
we're moving. It's slow and steady is the pace.
That's good. That's good
Yeah.
too. As long as it's slow and steady forward, not slow and steady backwards.
Exactly.
Like no,
Definitely forward.
Definitely.
forward.
And yes, pen and paper, yes, but you can always record, do a voice recording, voice note.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, driving in these mountains, I can't reach for anything these days, but I was only 8 minutes away. So as soon as I got here, I said, don't talk to me. I got to write it down.
Right. Don't talk to me. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Well, it has been awesome and amazing catching up with you, and glad that you are still, as my one friend says, rocking and rolling.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate that, and we will be in touch once I'm able to slow down after taxes and after a few trips and different things that I have going on. I will be hunting you down for us to see with slow and steady how we're going to go on to these next steps here. So really appreciate
Yes, all I can say is summer is coming, and that means I'll be free. So it's time to work.
Yeah. Well, you won't be totally free because you have your babies and they'll be doing stuff
I
too.
got those two people, but they understand. They understand the assignment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No worries at all. So thank you for being on and being a part of Women's History Month, as well as Women's History. You all remember this name right here, okay? You see Tiffany, and you remember this name, and is it Makeupson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Tiffany Makeupson.
Yeah, I never say your last name. I never use your name, your last name. So,
Right. Yeah,
So,
I've got it. My students upgraded my name to Miss Honey. I'm Miss Honey now. So.
Oh, you're Miss Honey. Okay,
I'm
Miss
Miss
Honey. Okay, all right. Okay, Miss Honey.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good. I'll have to use that. And now bringing to the stage my sister, Miss Honey. Sounds all official. You take care and you be blessed, okay?
You too. Love you.
Love you. Awesome. Well, we have had some amazing women on today, and I alluded to this next guest earlier when we were talking about forgiveness, and I said that we have a forgiveness specialist that will be in the house today, and I just love just her countenance, her smile, her everything, and we need people in our life to tackle hard subjects. And so I was talking about a few things that were a little bit heavy earlier. And sometimes for some people, forgiveness can be one of those types of topics. And she has tackled it head on. And there's going to be some things potentially that she will share about her life. But I just love her and appreciate her. And so without further ado, I will bring up none other than Taikisha.
Hello, my sisters. So good
Hello,
to see
hello,
you, Dr.
hello.
Crystal. I just love you. I just love you. Oh my God, what an honor to be here. I just want to say first and foremost, what an honor. It's an honor just, to walk alongside you, to be in, your circle, to know you, to glean from you. I mean, just from day one, you were the A1, just genuine. And most of all was your heart for the Father. You have such a love and an intimacy for the Father. And that's what gravitates me, to women. We can have all the things on the outside, but what profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Right. And so I just love you, and I'm honored to be here. I'm like, oh Lord Jesus. Okay, Lord, you pulling me out my comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone. You are on all the time, so don't even try it.
Let me tell you, y'all don't know. You know what? I'm on because I'm more afraid of being disobedient. I'm more afraid of being disobedient with God.
Look at me right here. Yeah, and this is not like if I'm better like going off writing a book, choreographing a dance for myself. Like
right.
Do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So every time I go on, I'm like, Lord, this is about you. What do you want said? What do you want done? None of me, but all of you. But I always feel like I'm beatboxing when I talk because I'm like, every single time.
Well, you are so beautiful and inside and out, and God knows your heart, and everybody can see it like exuding from you every single time. And so I appreciate you taking this time to be with us. And go ahead and introduce yourself. Then I want to have a few things that we jump into.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. I am Taikisha, the forgiveness coach. That stands for trusting his expertise. I am also founder of Hope and Hearts. I have a nonprofit. I work with sex trafficking, domestic violence survivors, and working on sustainable housing for the underserved. I am an author of a book called Forgiven, Hadassah Anointing, the 21 Days of Holiness. There's beauty in holiness. I am a mother and a grandma. I am a wife. I am a U.S. Army veteran, former women's professional football player. But most of all, I am a child of the Most High God, and I am sold out. I am my daddy's girl. So you guys will see me as the forgiveness coach and just a woman who loves people.
Excellent. Yes. And yes, you do. And yes, you are. And so we are going to be featuring the forgiveness coach on some of what we're doing on Life Innovation Global TV. We do have where we're doing some updates still to the studio, and you will be seeing more of this beautiful young lady on a series that we will be doing about what she does in life and for the world. And so when we think about Women's History Month, and what has happened in our past, who in our past has helped us to be who we are today, what does that mean to you? And do you have anyone tangibly that you can talk about that has really just been that foundation for you that has made you into who you are today?
I thought about that. I thought about that deeply. And, at first a few people came, to mind, but the truth of the matter is, as I was talking to Daddy God, I was like, Lord, honestly, there really shouldn't be a Women's History Month. It's really, we celebrate women every day. It's without women, there is no history. How about that?
Right. Exactly.
There really isn't. And so, you know what? I celebrate all women, and I'm honored we have a month, but we really, as women, have to get in the practice of celebrating each other all the time. We really should be uplifting each other all the time. And so when I look back over my life and thought about your question, there isn't just one. And it's like there can't be, because there's so many great women in our life, in our history that we've never known, and in our life that we've known that have travailed the journey with us. But where I go back first is one of my aunts. She was the matriarch, my mom's side of the family. And my aunt, in the beginning of her life was child sold out to the streets. When I tell you, she was sold out to the streets. Everything that you could think of to do, she was doing it. She was living her best life, right? But when she found the Lord, as hard as she was sold out to the streets, she was sold out for God. And she became the one that actually got everyone that got saved in our family saved. And so it was because there was such revelation in her life from seeing this one who, girl, had 4-5 men, was smoking, drinking, could cuss like a sailor, fight you in the streets, to this woman who had so radically changed, but was still her, but was just so in love with the Lord. And I don't mean religious. I don't mean religion, because I don't do religion. I have relationship and intimacy with our daddy God. But she had that. And I was 6 years old when she took me to church. And it was Crenshaw Christian Center in LA, when they were this little small white church on the corner before they became this mega church. And I was 6 years old and they had an altar call. And girl, I went down there for the altar call. I don't know why I flew out my seat at 6 years old, but I went down there for the altar call. And when the Holy Spirit came over me, the Spirit of the Lord came over me. Let me tell you something. For the next 7 weeks, I went down for altar call. And finally, they was like, Keisha, you saved. You are saved, child. You are saved. You don't need to come down here anymore. You are saved. And I thank my aunt for that, because that set my foundation. God is my foundation first. Then the women that he birthed into this earth to groom me and to teach me about him, because, he told us that his love draws all men to him. It's not about us drawing men and women to ourselves, and a lot of times we want to draw them to us, right? And then when we disappoint, now they're disappointed and now they want to turn away from our God, right? Don't be drawn to me, be drawn to him in me, okay?
Right,
I tell people,
right.
If you can't see my Jesus, and I say Jesus, run, child, run from me. So she was my catalyst. She was the catalyst, the foundation. I watched her life. She loved me in such a way that was what I needed at that time. You said, share a little bit. So a little bit about my family. I love my family, but my family, grew up rough. My mom, my dad, they grew up rough. My mom was a fighter in the streets, no joke. My mother and father met, my mom was fighting. And my dad, I guess that's what he liked, right? Because they've been together since high school. And so my mom is also my strength, because she's a rider, you understand? And so I had that blood in me where, you know what? I would fight first, I'd hit you first, talk later, right? And I had to learn that there was a time and a place for that. But I appreciate it because it gave me mental toughness. It gave me not just physical toughness, but mental toughness to endure, because my parents didn't grow up all lovey-dovey. I didn't grow up with affection, they didn't grow up saying, I love you, because they weren't given that, right? And so I never heard I love you until I was stationed in Korea in the Army. And my mom had just got saved through my Aunt Katie. My Aunt Katie had just gotten saved, and we were hanging up the phone, and she said, I love you. And I remember looking at the phone like, oh, okay. And, I hung up the phone. I had never heard it. And so it caused me to look at my mom in such a way to say, man, how was she raised? You know, what things were done to her? How can I love her in a way that she may not see herself? And so it caused me to search for God even more. It caused me to search for God even more. And so my mom was that catalyst also. Then along the journey, you know, I've met so many great women who just never gave up. And so part of the thing I learned from my mother and my Aunt Katie was resilience.
Right.
And resiliency, you understand, and who God really is. You know, that God was not a religion. He is intimacy. He wants to know you. He wants to know all about you. And so as I went through my life, you know, I've gone through ups and downs, you know, I've been to jail, I've been to prison, girl, and thank God for it. I know it sounds wild to say, but even in there, God had this little old lady that I know she was an angel, because I'm like, this was in jail before I even got to prison. Okay. This little old Black lady was sitting in jail, and I was like, what is she doing here? What could she have possibly done? You understand? It wasn't like in prison where you may have been there 40 years, 50 years, you know, because you want murder somebody a long time ago when you lost your mind. But it was in jail. And she said to me, do you see them women walking around in a jail cell? I said, yeah. She said, they've already lost their minds. She said, you're on the brink of insanity. Get your mind together. Get your mind together. And I remember sitting there, and, you know, we don't have time for me to go into the whole story while I was in jail. But I was sitting there and I'm going, I was in jail because I was so angry and so mad and so resentful from a tragedy that had happened in my life that I wanted to blame other people. Whether they had anything to do with it or not, we all have choices. And nobody can control us. We have to manage us. Right? Mm-hmm. And so this woman made me re-look at myself and to figure out, what type of woman am I? Who am I? Am I my circumstances? Am I my choices? Or am I who God says I could be? And so I wasn't even able to call out to God until this woman had this conversation with me. And I was able to call out to God, and God was able to meet me in jail and start this forgiveness journey. And that's where I started the forgiveness journey as a forgiveness coach. Mm-hmm. And so, awesome. Like I said, there's so many women in my life that have really shaped me, mm-hmm. that I honor all of them. I wish we could name them all, but I honor all of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's excellent. Excellent. And even just in that small snippet of a story that you gave, I think, you know, everyone listening, you know, can be totally engaged in that, because you met this little old lady. And sometimes when those kind of things happen, some people say, then it went back the next day and it's like, where was she? And she's not even there. You know, it was just basically an angel that God had sent. And it can be, you know, that you saw her day after day after day, but those are sometimes those angels that God puts in those circumstances and those situations to give us just that one message that's just so transformational. Not even a message, just that one question, or that one, like, get it together, get your mind together.
Come on.
And how many words you are? That was not a whole dissertation for you. That was just one little small phrase, but it was the energy behind it. It was the spirit behind it. And it was the timing behind it, and the location. Like there's so many different things that we can analyze based on that. And so, and I think you and I could probably talk about all this for like a long time. We do have another guest that's coming up here right now to be on for this next segment. But I really appreciate you being on and sharing that. And we do still have to set our date. You've been after me for 1,000 months. I don't even know how many years is 1,000 months. Maybe we can calculate that, but to be on. And so it will happen potentially April, potentially in April or May, because I do have where I have to honor these taxes and get those done. And I have to honor my husband. We have some trips we're going to be taking. And so a bunch of honoring going on here, but I do honor you. I do appreciate you. And ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, that we will be doing some segments related to her life. And so you'll be hearing more about her journey. And I know people have questions already based on some of the things that you said. It brings up some questions like, well, why this? Or how about that? Or wow, that was like really, really great. So thank you for being on today. And I know that you've had some speaking engagements. You have some other speaking engagements coming up. And so if you all see her name here, and if you want to see her on stages or invite her, as well as tune in to her forgiveness show, she does have the links for that on her Facebook and whatnot. So thank you so much, dear. Thank you for always being a light. Thank you so much. If you have one word, wait, not a whole sentence, just one word that you want to leave. That's not the word forgiveness. One word you want to leave with our audience today to help them, to inspire them. What would that one word be?
Love.
Love.
Awesome. We have to be intentional about our love.
Excellent. God bless you. And thank you for being a part of Women's History. You are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, as mentioned, all of our viewers today, no matter if you're on YouTube or Facebook, we really appreciate you being on with us. We have another guest that is behind stage that's waiting to come up, another phenomenal female. And this is Women's History Month. And so we've had some fire coming in, some powerhouses coming on today. So these next guests are none less than that. So I want to introduce you to one of our keynotes for our last summit. And she has some amazing things going on in her life as well. None other than Steph Style.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Good morning still. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So how are you today?
I'm doing good. It's so lovely to be here, to see your face and be in our trenches again and talk, and yeah, doing really good. So thank you for having me here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining with us. And before we even get to the introductions, I wanted to say that your photo shoot was on fire. That was just amazing. Some of the pictures that you have shared from that was just really, really on point. So can't wait to see some of the rest of what you had going on there. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone, and then we'll get into a little conversation.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Stephanie Johnson Enterprises. I am an NLP practitioner, life and leadership coach, and I am that coach that helps you connect the dots back to inspiration, life, and leadership with the focus on improving your confidence.
Excellent. So improving confidence is something that we all need, definitely. Mm-hmm. And there's a specific way that you go about that. And some of it has to do with your journey. So in women's history, confidence is very important. And so before we get into like your personal story necessarily, is there someone in history that has helped you to improve your confidence that you want to honor on today?
Absolutely. So I really kind of have to take it back to the place where I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. And so the woman that is an empowering history maker is Cathy Hughes. She's an Omahaan, and she, for many of you, if you don't know who she was an entrepreneur, just like myself. And she was in radio, television, and she's a true personality. And she is the owner of the first Black female public company, Urban One. So Urban One is BET. She was the owner of that. She did sell it, but she still has the Urban One, the one. I might mess this up a little bit, but Television One. She still has that station that shows a lot of movies that really depict the uniqueness and the greatness of African Americans. And so the key point to it and why I chose her is because she did all this where she made her company go public and she was 52 years old. I'm in my 50s, and what I have going on, I feel like I mean, she's a trailblazer, and she laid the breadcrumbs for me to come and find the gingerbread house, because I'm in my 50s, and what I have going on right now, it's speaking, it's going into television and radio and all the media segments that there is, and what better footsteps to follow in than someone that I can truly identify.
Excellent. Excellent. It's good for us all to have where we remember those people and have them at the back of our mind and bring them to the forefront from time to time to really pay homage to them and to have where we don't feel like, we did this all by ourselves. We were our own inspiration, of which we can be. But there had to have been like somebody. Come on,
someone that
like,
lit that torch. Absolutely.
Actually, I'm my own. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, on to the next question in the interview. We haven't had any women on that today, but I've heard people say that, and there had to be somebody. Like somebody changed your diaper, somebody did something for you, somebody did something,
Right.
So yeah, I appreciate that. And what you're saying is it's someone in your hometown area as well.
Absolutely. And to to gain all those strengths, and it's funny because I talk about confidence a lot, right? And that it takes confidence to do something like, especially when you're the trailblazer, you're the first Black woman to take a media company and to go public. And a lot of times it's so easy for us to get stumped into the doubt of it. Like, no, I can't do that. It won't happen. No, she went full charge. She said, this is going to happen. This is where my passion is. And it's a lot of the same where my passion is, because everyone has that, like I said, the person that's, started the torch, and with her even probably not even knowing, but passing it on to me too, in likeness and age as well. So yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. You definitely, there's somebody, right? And you pull on that.
Excellent. So we are still doing some things related to how we are able to honor women for Women's History Month. And we're still doing some things on that related. Even on Monday, we're going to be closing out on the very last day of March, closing out with some other speakers that have already signed up. There's a few people that said that they want to be on. So that's great. Tell us a little bit about how you are going about making history yourself.
Oh, wow. So for me, and I have to say thank you, Dr. Crystal Richardson, for allowing me to move into a prestige level of being a keynote speaker. I was just a speaker before, but to have the honor, someone says, this is my keynote speaker, come tell your story. I have to say thank you again. I'll forever be indebted to you for that. So thank you. But and I love it because, it was a woman. It was you that put me on stage to have even the honor of saying that I was a true keynote. And so I'm moving forward with that. So I have books coming out, and I even have in September 27th here in the Chicagoland area, I will be conducting my first own where I am providing the stage for others to come in to speak and tell their story. And so what I found out that is actually my signature trait now is that I will be creating these stages, and we already have dates set for 2026 and 27. And the Weight is Lifted conference and gala is the title of the conference that I'm having on September 27th. And it's going to be every year. So I'm super, super excited about that. And I put that woman charge on and I said, you know what? This is just, being on your stage in last September, which seems like 2 weeks ago, and now it's almost a year ago. But that was my charge to start and to go. And one of the things I talked about, when I did that keynote was do your part. Well, we're all given something by God, and I can't leave him out from this. And God said, you go speak your truth, because the matter is how I got to the stage to even be on your stage as a keynote speaker was the fact that I went through something. I wound up losing 110 pounds in 2023. In 2022, at the end of the year, I was dying, literally dying. And I've told the story of how my skin was gray. I was losing my hair, and I was so depleted from pouring into everyone else except for me. And I mean, the level of depression, I honestly, I'm even surprised that I was able to pull myself out of that hole. But God told me, get up, you have to go do this. You can swim those laps. I thought I was going to drown in the pool. But it was, you need to move your body. So when God says go, you go. And now it wasn't just the ending of telling my story on your stage. It was only the beginning. And now here I am. I have about 6 speaking engagements, either by streaming or being on an actual stage before my event in September 27th. And now I took the charge. And it's the whole, here I am, woman, hear me roar. And that's what I want to do. I want to roar by helping others to be able to find their voice, number one, and find their courage, because this takes courage to do, right? And number 3, to just be able to get out there and do your part, because your story that you're holding on to, man, that's a story for someone else's breakthrough. It's not about me standing on stage with a mic and telling a story. It's about you listening and finding your breakthrough. It's all about the audience. And that is what woman-owned empowerment is all about. And that's why I picked Cathy Hughes. I mean, that was empowerment. She followed her steps of her and did her part. And look, now there are people that we would have never learned or heard of if it was not for her creating her own media group. So right now it's all about spreading that and growing it more and more every year. Like I said, I already have dates set for next year. And just the connections that I'm pulling in together. And it's not about connections to start name dropping. It's about connections to help the next. We keep it moving. And that's an empowered woman. And that's what I strive to be. And yeah, so I'm super excited. And I cannot wait. And just like I said, if I can help you connect the dots to gain your internal inspiration and your transformation in life and also in leadership to help set your path to lead others to find their breakthrough, man, that's a confident situation. And I hope that I can help you find that, especially as women, especially as
Right.
women.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And I think that that's important that we always have that mindset that you're mentioning right now, is the mindset of helping the next one, helping the next one, and helping the next one. And not having, as I was talking about in one of the last segments, about being constipated, where we just take in, and never give out and never pour out. That's not good for our bodies, and it's not good for the world. It's not good for other people that need what it is that we have to say, or what it is that we can do, and how we are all connected in some way. And we're stifling someone else if we don't give out what we're supposed to give out. So really appreciate that. Really appreciate you. And can't wait for your summit and for all of the stages that you're on now. It's just phenomenal to see. Every time I see something pop up on Facebook, it's like, oh, she's doing it again. She's doing it again. Awesome. Amazing. And so any last final word that you have for us today? And I'll do the same thing with you, as in one word. What would be one word? It can't be confident or confidence, because that's what you've already talked about. But what's one word you'd like to share with us as an inspiration as we close?
It's simple. You. It's each and every person that's looking at this right now. It's every person that gets up every day that's wondering what can I do, or have doubt, self-doubt of no one wants to be around me. No, it's not true. My one word is you. And I mean you. So if there's a Kathy out there looking right now, Kathy, it's you. Jennifer, it's you. Dr. Crystal, it's you. If there's another Stephanie out there, yay. Stephanie, it's you. You are the change maker, believe it or not. You.
Awesome. You are the change maker. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. You are definitely a change maker, and I really appreciate your message. Everyone needs confidence. Everyone needs to have where they can dig in and then pull out what it is that God has for them in their life. And then your story of transformation related to your weight loss and how you're using that to inspire others is truly, truly phenomenal. So thank you for being with us today as we celebrate Women's History and how you are making history as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Much love, Dr. Crystal.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, ladies, we really appreciate you being on, and I'm speaking to the ladies that we've had on. It's been an awesome and amazing day. We are straight up at 3 hours, and I love the fact that we have been able to highlight and spotlight so many women on yesterday, today, and we culminate today with this portion of this week of Women's History Month. And on Monday, we will have our final speakers that will be joining us. There's several people that have signed up already. We do have a couple more slots left. If you want to be a part of Women of Impact and Innovation and Innovative Leaders Network, and be where you share your message on how you are creating history, and then give honor related to someone else who has helped create history in your life, we would love, love, love to have you. We do have some other things that are going to be coming up here in Arizona at our Uplift Center studios. So that's with Life Innovation Global TV. If you're looking for a place to have your radio show, TV show, podcast, or have a panel, in-person event, we would love to have you here in Mesa, Arizona, at the Uplift Center studios, so you can ask me more about that. Or if you want to be a host on one of our shows or have a commercial, anything like that related to media, again, we would love to have you. I am personally here in Arizona, but can travel. I do red carpet interviews and help to spotlight you. I was just at the Oscars doing some gifting lounges there. And we have the Emmys that are coming up and other events such as that. But if you have a grand opening and want to have some extra exposure, we would love to be able to help you with that. With that being said, look up Women of Impact and Innovation International. That's WOMENOIII.com. WOMEN, the letter O, and then III.com is where you can see more information about us. During April, we're going to be posting more information about what we're doing for the rest of the year. So you don't want to miss that in April. You'll see it on social media too, where we'll show you what we have coming up in our various committees. But we have enjoyed having you on. Thank you, ladies. I can't wait to talk to the ladies on Monday. And remember, we are here to honor Women's History Month and also you for what you're doing to create and make history. With that being said, I'm just going to show a little commercial here about one of my books, The 51 Powerful P's of Public Speaking. As we end today, pick up the book on Amazon or any major book outlet, and we will see you on Monday as we finish out Women's History. God bless and keep rising.